All right. Here we are again, sir.
Here we are again, my friend.
Draco back in the house.
How long has it been since the last one?
You know, I should have looked that up. It's probably been over a year.
Probably about a year.
It's probably been close to a year.
We had just met around that time.
Yeah, and I got a little heat the last time because I didn't explain how we knew each other. And then
really?
Yeah, then we started talking, and I was like real cryptic about it. I didn't want to give too much info, you know, so... Are we good with saying how we know each other? Let me just start with it. So,
absolutely.
So for the audience, right? Mm-hmm. We work together. We work together almost probably pushing 2 years now, almost a year and a half.
Just
right?
about. At least a year and a half.
Yeah, and we won't say the company because sometimes I say some stuff on here that the company might not like. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if you said anything last time.
Probably did.
Probably. But yeah, we're in the storage business.
That's
you
it.
know,
Yeah,
and it does catch a lot of attention. You know, people seem to have interest in it. You know, storage companies had that TV show, you know, we talk about that a lot, but I at least wanted to clarify for people how we know each other. So we work together.
Yes, I think that could be a whole other topic, the whole storage business. As you learn it now, you've been in it for a little while, and I've been doing it for a while. It'd be kind of going to the can of worms. That's another day.
Yeah,
right?
Another day. Because you've been in it now, what?
About five
almost
years. 6 years, going on 6 years.
Yeah. The one thing I've learned is people have too much shit.
Yes.
You know, people have too much shit.
Yeah, it's good for business, but damn, we have a problem in this country with excess.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's okay. Pays my bills. I'm good with it.
That's it. Pays the bills, and honestly, great company, great culture. For as much sort of crap as I've talked about, you know, corporations and corporate America from some of my previous experience, I've been pleasantly surprised with this company.
No, by far. This is, yes. I mean, I've told my friends and family's best company I've worked for.
Yeah.
And I've worked for some pretty good companies out there.
Yeah.
And done some good things, but definitely the culture of this place where we work at is amazing.
If you got to have a company, you know, I guess.
Exactly.
If you got to work, which is what a lot of our conversations end up going to is work. But, you know, I think that's why I wanted to do this again. I'm glad you were open to it because we have a lot of sidebar conversations, and we've been hanging out a lot too outside of work too, which has been good, and we've been having some good combos. It's like, let's get another one on recording here.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. So you seem to be on this, at least since I've met you, let's call it maybe a journey of some sort, you know, and we talked a lot about purpose and sort of things last time that you and I kind of got into, but what is this journey you're on? You're doing meditation and like you seem more mindful, but kind of how would you summarize this journey that you're on right now?
I'm just, if I was going to summarize it, was working on myself, concentrating on myself, right? So I'm 46 years old, right? So I'm a fully grown man, and really kind of understanding and coming to terms with things from how I grew up in my youth that are directly impacting how I perceive the world, as it should, right? We grow up and we see things a certain way based on values, morals, experiences, and all that. But really what it comes down to is trying to figure out some of the stuff like we've talked to. Why are we doing all this stuff? And some of the things that I'm doing now, there's lots of other people that are doing what I'm doing. I mean, there's no new secret, no nothing, just spending time really thinking. And the meditation is really what's helping me a lot to just see things a little differently. Particularly for my mind, because I have a hard time, my mind doesn't rest well. My mind doesn't sit still. So forcing myself to sit for 15, 20, sometimes an hour, and just sit and breathe and concentrate on that stuff right there. Just that in itself. I tell you, sometimes when I'm done, I don't feel like I physically need to work out. But really, that's just the mental part. There's also the physical part, right?
Because you feel like accomplished, or that you feel like you I don't know, like what how does that make you feel like you don't want to work out, I guess?
So it's because physically forcing yourself to sit still and thinking through that and breathing and focusing on doing nothing essentially. But in your mind, it's a whole lot going on. So if somebody walks in the room and sees somebody meditating, what do you think of when you see somebody meditating?
I don't know, man.
Just sitting there, right?
Just
Cross
sitting there
legs,
doing
some of this stuff, right? You know, doing all that stuff. But in here, there's so much happening, so many things. And I've only been, there was a time before I started working for the company where I was doing a practice of meditation on a regular basis. And even then I understood the benefits and reprogramming the brain and reprogramming kind of how you think. And specifically my goal is I'm working on my vices and kind of figuring out, okay, how am I feel that I should have the power to overcome some of these vices, right? But I'm not able to. So why not?
Yeah.
But going kind of back to it, sitting still, there's nothing on the surface, but inside the mind is going. And I've had these experiences where I physically feel like I'm moving, and even though I'm not moving physically, but I feel like it's almost like an out of body experience. So I feel my hands moving in different ways. I just feel different connections. You see the visuals. It's very kind of almost like an hallucinogen. You see these different things and stuff.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is after I'm done for however long, it's an energizing, feel invigorated, feel, first of all, like I'm floating afterwards, feel like, wow. But I've noticed, particularly after a little bit of a longer session, the little pouring the coffee in the pot, it sounds like I've never heard it before. And it's just interesting, like just kind of understanding and seeing and hearing things. But what it's causing for me primarily right now is a separation from the time that I have a stimulation, whatever happens to me, in my reaction time. So it's just a brief second in the middle to say, okay, do I want to act like I've always acted and reacted to this scenario, or am I going to act differently because I want to be a different person?
Do you think that's helping you in your relationships too, a little bit, being, I guess, a little, we've talked of the pressure cooker, you know, but I ever since you said it to me, like I can feel when I'm getting to that point, like, all right, I've got, either I'm putting too much on my own shoulders, I'm taking too much input from others, and then that's when I usually do what you were describing, which is react in the wrong way for whatever reason, But you think it's helping you with your relationship?
I know it is for a fact, right? So even with, my wife and I have a great relationship. We're fortunate like that.
Yeah.
But it's even little things in how my tone, how I say things is nicer. That makes sense, right? Yeah. I'm not so reactionary and snappy on things. It's a matter of, okay, and this is one of the practices and some of the doctors and things that I'm coming across, some of these folks, that it's really just, if you want to change and you want to be the person that you envision yourself to be, or you just want to evolve, you got to start being able to think every day throughout the day about exactly what you're doing. And just being aware of it in itself causes change, because then you start reacting different. Then you start seeing people and they're like, oh, you're a little different. I can't put my finger on it. You're just a little more maybe calm, or maybe more joyful, or maybe brighter, But that's what I'm realizing is helping me. So with my kids, when I talk to them, I'm just very much more relaxed when I'm talking to them. Not that I was some tense monster by any means, but how I'm giving advice, it's all really my tone is changing. I'm being more cognizant of how the tone of my words
is being received.
And that's having the biggest impact on my relationships.
I have always credited something similar to marijuana, where it makes me more conscious of other people's feelings. And that's a hard thing sometimes for people to understand, is like, well, you need this, illegal drug, depending on where you live and who you ask, right? To get you to that point. But for some reason I did, but I think it's gotten to the point to where it's made me better without it. And do you feel yourself where maybe you go through a period where you're not doing the meditations and the breathing and getting in that mindful kind of Zen state where you can still tap into that and still feel like you're, I don't know, still paying attention to, how you're being perceived?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, like I said, this is something people that maybe will listen to this and they understand or have done practice and whatnot. Some people are going to say, oh, that's that hippie mumbo jumbo stuff. And then other people are going to be like, yeah, it's awesome and it works. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about figuring out what's going to be right for you.
100%.
What's going to be right for you? How do you want to interact with the world around you? What world do you want to create around you? And getting into the whole manifesting thing. So I know people will joke and say, oh, I'm not going to work again because I'm going to manifest $1 million, right? And that's an extreme way of looking at it. Kind of like if you tie that into religion, right? And people say, well, Jesus has my back, so I'm not going to worry about it because he's going to provide my resources and my answers. And it kind of goes into the whole thing. You ever heard, there's jokes out there, different versions of it, that there's like an example would be a guy that's in the ocean on a raft that's deflating, and a boat comes by and the guy says, "Hey, you want help?" He goes, "No, Jesus is going to help me. He's going to save me." And I go, "Okay." Then a helicopter comes by and they're like, "No, I'm okay. I'm waiting for Jesus. He's going to help me." And then next thing you know, a dolphin comes up and said, "I'll swing you to shore." "No, I'm okay. Jesus is going to help me." And then the raft deflates and you drown and die. The dude gets up to the gates and he was like, "Dude, why didn't you come and save me? I was waiting for you." He goes, "I sent you a boat, a helicopter, and a dolphin,
and a talking dolphin,
and you didn't take any of the help. What else can I do for you?"
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So looking at kind of those things and figuring out what works and what it's causing me to do with the manifestation thing is that I've always felt that we do have the power to manipulate our surroundings and our outcomes of things.
Sure.
And so what people will say is not about what happens to you, it's about how you react to what happens to you. And that's the exact concept. That's the concept, right? How are you reacting to these things that are going on? And what can you do differently, right? Yeah. So it comes down to and then you get into layers of understanding that the mind doesn't know how to differentiate between what you think happened, so you can make up a scenario in your head. Physiologically, the body doesn't know the difference between you made it up in your head versus it really happening.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So when you start thinking through some of those things, it's a matter of, okay, well then think ahead about how you want a scenario to go in the most positive way. Your body doesn't know the difference, but naturally now you start making actions and taking things and doing things that are going to get that result in that positive way that you want, because you're already kind of rehearsed it. So your body is familiar to you in your brain, and then it connects it with the body. So are you going to be able to brainwave $1 billion money bag right here? No. Yeah. But you can open up your waves or whatever it is to being open to opportunity. Like, you know what? I want wealth and abundance, and be specific about what you want. And then there's layers of coming to terms with saying it's okay to want wealth. It's okay to want money specifically, if that's what you want, right? Or whatever it is. No. But as you start thinking through it, naturally that will come to you because you're putting the wave out there that's what you want.
I think it seems like it started with what a lot of people don't like to do, which is be this introspective, looking at yourself, looking at why maybe you're reacting to these things, what happened in my childhood. You know, I really believe this whole product of your environment, you know, for the first few years, and it's sometimes hard, people never break out of that environment, but it starts with like that first look at what it is that you actually want, you know, and I think people have a different view on that all across the board, but to each to their own individual, and that's why I like talking to you about these things, because I think we're talking similar languages where your mind is really the only thing, and even controlling it is a false sense, but it's really your best weapon, you know, to how you react to things, how you get things accomplished, how you're being perceived to others. But it still seems like that's hard for people if they hear about meditation or, you know, want to get inside their own head. They think it's some big elaborate, you know, I got to go to a retreat, I got to find this doctor. But sometimes it can be 5 minutes of sitting by yourself and doing nothing but breathing, you know, and little things like that make you feel like you're getting a workout in. So it's not that complicated.
No, it's not. It's not. And I think something that's happening for myself anyways, there's a certain level of, so it's very similar to, I think about Christianity. Right. So one of the biggest things that you'll hear in whatever form of Christianity is believe that God is working in your favor all the time. He always has your best interest in mind, but you have to trust that it's happening and not worry about what's going to, because then you start thinking about when is it going to happen? What's going to happen? No, be still, live your life, and these trinity of spirits in the Christian world or whatever are going to come together and provide you what you want and what you need. It's a very similar concept, just take the names out. Right? So if you're sitting and believing and understanding, you know what, everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen. No. Yes, each individual decision creates those waves, and different outcomes can come from any one small decision and change the outcome of what's going to happen. But if you trust that that's the right thing that's going to happen, it's okay. So it comes down to confidence in a way, for me, is how I kind of see it. Where if you're in a meeting, right, and this happened early on in my career, overly concerned with what people thought. Right. Well, I don't want to ask the question because it's probably a dumb question. The whole dumb question thing comes up. That's a good example, right? Nobody wants to ask a question because they feel like they're going to be dumb.
That happens in almost every group session. I don't want to ask a dumb question, but...
Yeah. So when you start looking at it where it's a matter of, it doesn't matter if it's a dumb question. I'm okay with asking a dumb question because right now this is the question I need to ask to get the answers I need. And if you don't like that I asked the question, screw you.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you have to have a certain level of confidence to be able to accept that. Right? So even if you translate it, and let's say if you're career driven and you're looking at, networking and building relationships within this organization so you can bubble up and get your titles and get to where you want to go. Being overly concerned about, well, if I say the wrong thing, then I'm just going to shoot myself in the foot and I'm never going to make it. Don't worry about it. Say what you got to say, but be upfront and be transparent about it.
Yeah.
And as long as you're being really honest, not being disrespectful, not being an asshole,
Sure.
but you're being just honest and upfront, then you'll get further that way. Instead of trying to chase it and trying to manipulate things, just be you. So if I'm going to equate it back to kind of how and I've always had this confidence, but for whatever reason, now this time in my life, I'm supposed to be, in the way I look at things, I'm doing this right now because this is the time in my life I'm supposed to be discovering these things for myself and evolving in a way. But I'm at a point now where it's a matter of, look, if I'm fully qualified for an opportunity and I've got the skills, I've got the experience, right? And I have the relationship and I'm getting along, but let's say you don't like the fact that I've got a tattoo on my forearm. And if that's what cost me the opportunity, I'm okay with that because that means that there's nothing wrong with me. That opportunity wasn't the right one. The next one's coming that's going to be the right one. So that way, basically, you're being your true self, being your true self at all times. And so that means that when you do get these opportunities, it's because of you and wholly you, not a version of you that you've presented to people. So it's going to be a better fit.
Yeah. That seems to be the best in all your relationships, whether it's work or at home with your family or with your friends, is if you can be who you actually are, but back to knowing who it is that you actually are. And it seems like, you're a little older than me. It seems like you never quite figure that out, or there's always more to learn or to develop about yourself. There's always more stuff to keep learning, keep growing, I suppose.
There is, man. I know for myself personally, a lot of what we do, I've always thought this, I don't know what psychological theories or what it is, man, but we can trace back to most of how we react to things to a specific incident in our life, right? So let's say, for example, how you react to a comment or something, and you're like, I always get mad. Most people don't stop and think, why does that make me angry? Like, why? Because I don't have to get angry, but I get angry about these things. So you take some time, and sometimes the answers will be obvious. A lot of times, though, you got to think on it, and it could take some time to just kind of think through it. Not constantly, just as it comes up and you're thinking, and you can trace it back to single incidences of things that may have happened to you, either in your childhood or through your life, that caused a pivotal moment that now you react differently to things, right? So thinking about myself, getting into seeking acceptance from my father, right? Always feeling not being good enough, always kind of having to work harder and harder and harder and harder, which created doubt in myself. So even though I had this certain underlying confidence that people would never be able to tell that I was shaking in my boots in my head.
From the outside, they wouldn't be able to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, I don't know if it's the right thing to do. And it's all about the fear of rejection. The fear of rejection was coming from the fact that I got rejected a lot growing up. You know what I mean? By different instances. And you can go down the road of, it's not specifically my father, my mother also as well too. Different things that happened the way we grew up and kind of how it was. My parents always had a very, very kind of rocky relationship with each other, even though they were together off and on together, like married and divorced and together multiple times throughout my life. So understanding those things where it's a matter of, okay, why am I so afraid of being rejected? Why that? So thinking back of like, my wife is a good example. I'm sure your wife probably sometimes can say the smallest thing and it's like, oh, what? Right? Because that's husbands and wives, right? Okay. Sure. Why does that bother me?
They know what cuts the deep.
Oh, they know. No, they do, though. They do. Yeah. So anyways, but thinking to myself in my situation, why am I so overly sensitive about that? It's really not a big deal. But I'm just so afraid of the rejection that coming through and understanding that for myself now I don't feel like I don't care so much if you reject me or don't like what I have to say. Yeah. And that's coming through just understanding myself more. I don't know if that all kind of makes sense or not.
It does. It does. And in a roundabout way, I think that's what a lot of people are missing. They're missing that introspective look, maybe understanding where things come from helps you let things go. That's why people go to psychiatrists, you know, and that's exactly those kind of conversations they start with. And it's always a joke, you know, well, tell me about your mother or tell me about your father. But but you're right. But I have come to, and, you know, I have great parents, had a great childhood, you know, I've come to like give them some slack on stuff. You know, the older I get and having kids myself and raising them, like, damn, like a lot of times people are just doing the best with what they got. Doesn't mean people don't make bad choices, you know, and terrible things happen to people all the time. But man, I think there's no playbook, you know, and the longer and the more access we have to knowledge and, you know, through the internet and all this research people are able to do now, we're very fortunate to be here in America, but people don't really know what is going on. There's a lot of theories on things, you know, there's a lot of good things that help people. You brought up Christianity a couple times. You know, I have a few issues with certain denominations of it. And I think and if you can't have that conversation with somebody, then it's like, okay, this person isn't looking at all sides, right? But I do think it helps people. And, you know, that Buddhist mindset of being present is kind of similar to what we're talking about here. Like it's really all you can do is what's right in front of you. That's it. You can't access the past. You can't change what's coming up in the future, you know, so you might as well be right here, right now in the present. You know, it seems like a pretty logical way to go about it.
It is, but it's easier said than done, right? Because life is always punching us in the face all day long. But going back to what you said, once you have identified that point, then you can decide, okay, this is why I act this way. Do I like that or not? And I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that we can change. It's okay to change, right? So you get folks that, I got to keep it real. Oh, man. And it's like, nah, dude, keeping it real is evolve. I think if you take the word change and switch it into the word evolve, that's going to be a better perception of how people, I think, should approach life. That's an evolution.
That's funny, man. In my, young 20s, those like bracelets started getting popular on the gram back then, you know, and the one I ordered, the word I had on it was evolve. Oh, nice. Because I think that is something that, you know, whether you believe in an actual evolution or not, you know, there's a lot of good data that points to that. I think you're right. I think while we're here, it does make sense to put time into evolving into what you want to be. And whether that's good or bad, that's two very subjective words. What you actually want. And that sounds selfish, but I think you got to be a little selfish in this life.
I do too.
Yeah.
You got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that, you know, fuck everybody else and what they do. That's not it. But if you're not right, you cannot help other people.
100%.
You can't. It's like, okay, I've got no money and you need my help financially, so I'm going to give you my last few dollars, but then now I'm broke and now I need that money. But really, am I helping you? No, I need to make sure that I'm good. All my bills are paid. Now I can really help you with a couple of bucks because I'm comfortable. But if I'm helping you and it's going to hurt myself, can't do that stuff. You think about physical activity. You know, and a bodybuilder would be the extreme version of the selfishness, if you will. It's not selfishness. It's just that to live that lifestyle, to seriously compete in that lifestyle, it's very regimented and very disciplined. Right? So it doesn't matter that I'm at work. I have to eat my meal at 10, whatever it is. And no matter what you're doing at work, you got to do that. People can perceive that as being selfish. But the thing about it is that there's always distractions that'll keep you from putting yourself first. So going back to training, right? Exercising, things like that. People, it's easy to just say, oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, we do got to go to the grocery store. Let me do that first. Or I need to go see my in-laws or whatever first. No, it's got to be reversed. You know what? Let me get my workout in real quick and then I'll meet you there. Or yes, then I'll go with you. That's not being selfish. That's making sure that you're taking care of yourself first.
From a priority standpoint.
So prioritize yourself, which is in essence being a little selfish.
I think some bodybuilders get into that like body dysmorphia, you know, so that's back to, you know, why do they want to be 400 pounds and, you know, stacked? And it's the opposite too with like anorexia and, you know, girls that are or guys that are way too skinny for that matter. But it's sort of back to where did that come from for them in some cases. But yeah, I mean, setting your priorities. But I think fitness is an interesting one. You and I get into fitness a lot. You know, I've been like legitimately working out for over 20 years, just never stopped, you know, and I think people have this perception that, you know, it's got to be 2 hours or it's got to be, you know, like they have this build up in their head. So sometimes I tell people like, dude, do 5 minutes of jumping jacks, do 2 minutes of jumping jacks 3 days a week, and then in a month from now you're going to be able to do them not only easier. It's like these little blocks of time. And this was a hard thing for me, and I talk a lot about time on here, is I never realized like how much little things ultimately for the big picture add up to like growing skills or developing things. And fitness is right down that alley for me. And that seems hard for people to grasp, that it's not as complicated as they might make it seem.
Not at all, man. I got my brother, I've just talked to you about my brother. He's in the music business. JT. He's in the music business, right? So when he's home, he's a gym rat. He works out religiously, he takes care of himself, he does all these things. But the schedule on the road is strenuous, right? So because the schedule is constantly, you're in the music business, you're doing shows, random hours, getting these artists
different cities all the time,
traveling and whatnot. And so I've had that conversation with him where he's like, man, I just got to, an hour. And I said, dude, you got to get that hour out of your head, man. 15, 20 minutes of body weight exercises in your hotel room will tear you up.
100%.
And that's all you really need. And so he understands that. He's kind of, you're right. But we have this stigma where we go, okay, I got to go and do 10 minutes of warm up and stretching. Then I got to do maybe 10 minutes of do my workout. Then I have to do 20 minutes of cardio afterwards. And now all this stuff is taking me at least an hour to get it done. And I have to have an hour in there. Yeah. If you can get an hour in there and hang out that time, cool. But if you're looking to get results, you really don't need that much. To get, it all depends on what you want to do.
What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, if you're trying to be, let's stick with training, and you want to be, you want to compete in jiu-jitsu or something, like, well, you might have to put 2 times a day in, an hour and 10 minutes each, or bodybuilding for that matter. You got to put some work in. But if you want to be healthier and you want to live longer, like, you don't have to look very hard to find the science and the data behind, living a little healthier for living longer. But it could be a walk. And you've been doing a lot of more walks, haven't you? I mean, there's meditative
easy, low
benefits
impact
of walking.
Oh, man, it's crazy. I think what happens is that a lot of us get caught up into having unrealistic expectations, right? So when we think of somebody who is fit, we tend to think of maybe a professional athlete, right? People that train very specifically, their life revolves around them, their physicality and what they do. Well, those people are working out 2 or 3 hours a day because they built up that tolerance. That's what it takes for them to get stronger and better, because they do it. This is their job, essentially, and that's what they do. And even some of these Olympic athletes, you always hear that they're just regular Joes. They just happen to be really good at this thing, and so they balance. I don't know how they do it. It's amazing. They balance out their training and getting to the Olympics and winning with working a job full time and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, before they're making money.
Before they're making money, if they're even making money.
True.
Right?
Some Olympic athletes, they never make money.
So I think if you're going and thinking to yourself, well, to be fit, I got to work out like this person who is literally taking an NFL player, right? Super Bowl just happened. That's fresh. Okay. This person's worked out and played football. Chances are, statistically speaking, since they were single digit age.
Oh, yeah.
Their whole life dedicated to that. So that individual will be able to work out 3 hours in the day and sustain it and be able to get stronger for a very specific goal. Now, will they? I'm not a trainer, man. I don't think that's necessary for across the board. I've seen some bodybuilders. I've heard the stories of some of these veterans, the golden era back in the Schwarzenegger days and stuff, that some of these folks that were winning some of these awards were literally working out 3 times a week for 30 minutes a week each time. Yeah. Right now, that's what they were doing at that point in their training. But to get muscles like that, to have the discipline and that size and that kind of physique.
Years, man.
It's years.
It's a year commitment that not a lot of people will do with their time for whatever reason. They're not that interested. They're not that motivated. They don't like it as much. I think you got to mix it up, in my opinion, to stay motivated. Some people that get into something and do it for 20, 25 years, more power to you, But I don't know. I think comparing yourself to others, a lot of times people do that too much, like, oh, I'm never going to be this football player because I didn't start when I was 8 years old. So then they just never do anything. And it's like, well, maybe you'll never be that football player, but can you be, the fittest 47-year-old and whatever?
Can you be pretty damn good?
Can you be pretty damn good? Can you make strides in the right direction? You know, and that's always what it's been for me, is just keep it moving, man. It just seems like if you keep it moving, maybe you'll have it for longer.
You will. I mean, that's just a fact. It kind of going back to what you were saying, something I've picked up from you after the last year is that little bits here and there help and get there, right? Yeah. And so that was a problem that I still struggle with. I'm getting a lot better now, but thinking, okay, I want to sit down and do this activity, but I need to have at least an hour. It's kind of like, okay, follow your own advice, but you're talking to your brother when working out, man, right? 5 minutes of strumming the guitar.
Yeah.
5 minutes a day, if you can be disciplined or find 5 minutes every day to do it. Yeah. Dude, at the end of the week, you're getting, 35 minutes of practice in, where instead of waiting for a chunk that you may not have and you don't do anything, at least you got a little bit done every day, and it adds up to it.
100%.
And so the next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting better at this.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to take this exhaustive amount of time set up. I got to turn the lights down, light my incense, get in the mood, do finger stretches.
You get way deep, huh? Incense and finger stretches. I like it.
That could be a different activity, right? So anyway, anyhow, man. But taking into that, right? Little bits here and there. Well, and take it even. Let's forget about something very specific like a skill. Working in the yard.
Yeah.
Okay. You go out there and just do 10 minutes here and there. That's all you really need, and if you focus on that, you can make a big difference in your yard or maintenance yard. If you're trying to create an environment or whatever, you can make a big difference in 10 minutes at a time.
100%.
Because most of the times, and if you see the tricks, I'm sure there's names for the tactics where it's like just do 5 minutes, set the clock, and start cleaning your garage for 5 minutes, and give yourself the 5 minutes. If you stop at 5 minutes, well, great, at least you started.
Yeah.
You accomplished something.
Yeah.
You got there. You started moving in the right direction.
And then build on it.
And then build on that. And most of the times, that 5 minutes is probably going to be 15.
Right.
You just kind of get going. 5 minutes goes fast. You don't realize it. Now you're in the groove. And next thing you know, you're like, damn, I cleaned my whole garage. Didn't mean to. Yeah. But it's only because you started. You took a couple of little steps to get it. Yeah. But being okay with, if you take those 2 steps and that's all you're taking today, that's all you did today.
But it feels, and I'll speak for myself just because it's relevant in this scenario, which is martial arts, where I had this idea where I wanted to put time into it. And for years, I never did it. I had plenty of martial artists on the podcast. We've talked about it for hours and hours and just never actually committed at the time. So all last year, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, shadow boxing, kicking for 5 minutes, whatever. And then you compile that to like where I am now, like a year and a half later. I would have never thought that I could head kick somebody, but just in a short amount of time, I've been very pleased, and it's helped me with other aspects. And now I do that for reading books. I've said on this same podcast, I've never read a full book, and now last year I read 8 books, and we're reading a book at the same time now. So little things build up over time, and the long game. If you're lucky, you have a long game. Not everybody gets to have a long game in life, unfortunately, but little steps to move to what you're trying to accomplish, but know what it is you're trying to accomplish and be able to deviate if you need to.
Oh, we got to pivot. Things change, right? Yeah. We're going to change. We're going to think differently about stuff. You might get into something you think, oh, this is cool, and then after you get into it, feel like, I don't really like this anymore. It's not fun. It's not what I thought it was. That's okay, but at least you tried. Yeah. You gave it a shot, and you went into doing it. So some of the literature and stuff I'm reading around the psychological self-work or what I'm doing or whatever is one of the biggest concepts is whatever you focus your energy on will grow. No matter what. It's going to grow because that's where you're focusing your energy.
Sure.
So if you're focusing on negative things, well, the negative things are going to grow around you. Right? If you're focusing on positive things, well, then more positivity is going to come out of it. Right? But it even goes into what you're saying with the martial arts. You focused on that for the year. Doesn't matter that you didn't do it 5 hours a day every day. You focused on that, was your focus for the year. And through all those little steps you took along the way, now you feel confident and competent in your martial art abilities and improving. Exponentially at this point, but it's because your energy is focused on it, and because it's a positive thing. Well, it's going to have positive results, right? And then you'll be able to feel confident because you're like, "Wow, I accomplished that! Wow, I never thought I would be able to do that maneuver. I never thought I'd be able to identify that chokehold just by seeing the setup. Oh, I know what's happening here. I know where they're going with it, and you just start to be able to analyze and see so much more within the details. So,
but it all played a factor, which was being present, having somewhat of a plan and sticking to it even when you don't want to. David Goggins is?
Yes.
He's a runner, Navy SEAL guy, He
did the SEAL program like 3 times in a row or something because he wanted to.
Now he runs like I don't know what these ultra marathons are, but they're fucking forever.
Oh, they're a lot,
right? They're a lot. You know, the Moab 250. I don't even know what these races are. But even a guy like that, like, you know, he has arguments with his shoes. He talks about openly, like, I stare at my shoes. I don't even want to put those MFers on or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's everybody. A lot of people would look at a guy like that. Oh, he's successful. He's making all this money. He's motivating all these people. He's got no issues getting out there and running. But no, everybody is the same. Mm-hmm. And everybody's dealing with the same stuff. Doesn't matter what they have or who they are, in my opinion. Yeah.
Something else, man, is just changing the patterns, right? So I'm
mixing it up.
Mixing it up, man. So for myself, man, the phone, right? My routine in the past was pick up my phone first thing, right? Go get up, grab my phone, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, right? Do what I'm doing in there. And even though I wouldn't look at, it's not social media. It's not even, I realize this, it's not about social media. It's about the phone itself. So I would do that, just being honest, right? So routine, get up, brush your teeth, drop bombs, take a shit, right? Get the bowels moving, get it go. That's my routine.
The phone is really common in that moment.
Yes.
Yes.
So what I would do is read news, catch up on stuff. Sometimes I would find myself getting quickly absorbed into work. First thing in the morning, I'll check my emails, or even social media if I'm start scrolling through stuff and doing stuff. And so what's something I've learned through learning about myself is with the way my brain works, I seek out dopamine. I have dopamine deficiencies, right? Because I have ADHD and so chasing always dopamine to kind of keep myself stimulated, self-stimulation. And what I found is that
dopamine's dope.
Dopamine is dope, man. It is. It's dope, man. So cool thing though, man, is that when this is just me reading, right? I'm not a scientist. I'm not, I'm just kind of understanding and gathering knowledge.
We're just two dudes talking shit.
Two dudes talking shit.
Come on.
I'm not an expert on anything. So the first way that your brain gets dopamine in the morning tends to be the way that it seeks it out the rest of the day. So if you pick up your phone and that's your first shot of it, then you I found myself picking up my phone throughout the day more than I should. Sometimes for no reason.
Because it knows it's getting it, so it might send you back to it.
Yep, right on. Yeah. So now my routine's totally different. I get up, brush my teeth, do my thing. I read while I'm sitting, like old school, instead of like people used to. Yeah. Before the phone, just sit there and read something.
Read a book.
Read something. Read a little book. Read a few pages in there while I'm getting my system moving and all that stuff. And then I still don't look at my phone when I get out. I mean, I'd look at it, but it's to set up, okay, what meditation do I want to do today? Put my headphones on, and then I sit and I do the meditation, right? Then my general routine would be, I started peeling away these things. So first it was no phone, and the first thing, read, and then I would get up, get a coffee, get my phone, and be like, all right, you know what, I don't want to hold my phone first thing. Let me change that with doing something different. Let me go ahead and look at some meditations and kind of do that first. Then after that, my pattern would be get a cup of coffee, turn on the news. Let me get caught up on current events. Well, the current events are bullshit, man. Everything sucks, right?
It's so curated, man.
It sucks, man. Right? So now I found my most recent evolution of this routine is I get up, I read, I do my meditation, then I read some more. Or I just put music on. Not the news, nothing that's going to distract or bring in any kind of negativity in my head, and just kind of sit. And even just those steps in itself, without them, I take the meditation, I'm not looking at my phone first thing, and not looking at social media. So social media is a monster in so many ways, right? Because it's designed for our attention, and we know all these crazy things that are coming out of social media. And I remember my wife would say, I didn't look at social media for a few days, and I feel better. No. And I always wrote it off on her, honestly. I would say, well, that's because you're looking at social media the wrong way. You're seeking likes or something, or you're looking for the validation that a lot of people use it for. Where my theory was, I use it for entertainment. I'm looking for funny videos, new recipes to cook. I'm looking for music.
You're getting that dopamine.
But I'm getting the dopamine, right? Yeah. Since I started looking at social media a whole lot less, despite the fact that I'm not posting things that, okay, how many people like, I don't really post much. I don't really contribute. I just consume. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But even not looking at it, I do feel better because it's not it's something about the dopamine and how those different videos and what I get and what I'm seeking out of it, where I'll lose time just scrolling, looking for nothing. Where's that next? I need a funny video. It's like you're almost like feeding for a hit of crack.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You know what
feeding
I mean?
For it.
Yeah, I need a funny video. I want to see a new recipe, or I want to read a new interesting fact. Why am I seeing these people dancing? I don't care about these people dancing. You know.
But then you hit the key point, which is the time. You know, how much time people are spending on that device or on those social media apps where they're designed to keep you there for as long as they possibly can, because that's how they make money, right? I think it's a tool. You know, I've been a few years off of it. You know, I've been trying to get back to it with YouTube and obviously Spotify and some of those other things. But like, if you think the traditional ones, like, I spent way too much time on Instagram in my younger 20s for different reasons, you know, for different reasons. But I think it could be a good tool, you know, and I think there are some benefits that you could do with it if you do it in the right way.
I'm not knocking it, like, to the point where I think, because there's mornings I wake up and I'm like, today I'm going straight to my feeds, because that's what I want to do today, and I'm okay with that now.
And I feel good about it.
I'm like, that's what I'm choosing to do today, and I understand what that means. I'm breaking away from the regular pattern I'm doing because I want to. It's almost like I reward myself some days where it's like, you know what, I've been good all week. I haven't really been staying away. Let me
like a cheat meal.
Almost like a cheat meal,
like
man,
a
honestly.
Cheat meal.
You know. And really, what started doing a lot for me is not even besides all that. You're right, the time, man.
The time.
I would find, man, you get wrapped up in some of these things, you'll lose 40 minutes, dude.
Sure.
And be like, whoa, what could I have done in 40 minutes? Another thing, as far as it's okay to not watch the news every day. It's okay to not really worry about what's going on out there, because at the end of the day, you're going to get information from people around you, get information from those around and stuff like that. And I've kind of understood that, because I would be so afraid of not watching the news. It's kind of like it becomes a sort of addiction where you're like, okay, I need to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on. And
that's what they want.
The world, and
you know,
it's working.
That's what they want.
It's the original, like, social media kind of thing where it's absorbing your attention. And what gets attention? Sex, violence, things. And that's what you see on the news all the time.
If it bleeds, it leads. That is from like the 50s probably. If it bleeds, it leads. Put it up first. I think it's getting increasingly hard to know, you know, what news sources to trust, you know, where to go for good quality news, because all the changing of stories of different things over the years. But I think if you do get too caught up in what's going on outside of your own individual world that you can actually have some impact on, people get way too lost in that. Way too lost in politics, in my opinion, way too lost in religion. That's my opinion. I get, you know, obviously we need people in politics and we need religion too, unfortunately, but no. But people get too lost in some things that you can't really impact. No. And I've always had this mindset that, like, if I can't, and control is a tough word. If my time isn't going to be used to impact this thing in a positive or negative way, then I just forget about it. You know, like, I don't want to waste the time.
What are you going to do about something that happened in Omaha that made the national news? What are you really going to do about it?
I don't know, but like, so some recent news one that's got my attention is, in the last 3 days, we've sent F-18 jets to shoot things down over North American soil. And if you count it in 2 weeks, we shot those Chinese balloons down or whatever. I was talking to my grandfather on Sunday. He was in the Air Force. I'm like, how often do we shoot things down over American soil? It's like, it's not that common to have one a day for 3 days.
Yeah.
That's a little interesting. Sometimes I get caught up in that kind of stuff. But then again, like, I'm never going to know what it is.
I think that's a little different because it's interesting.
Sure.
And it's impacting our world. It's a more of a, I don't know, that's not what I mean to say. Like, it's like, what's happening? Because world wars do happen. Things like that go down. Right, so that's more like on a bigger level, I think, where it's like, well, maybe just awareness, whereas opposed to where you want to say, oh, I heard that some horrible thing happened in this city, in this town, and it's 5 states away, and I just want to know what it is. But why? What are you going to do about it? You're not going to do anything about it. Yeah. You're just going to adjust it. It's going to have a thought in your head. You're going to have an opinion on it, and so.
But it could impact you, even if you don't know it's impacting you.
Maybe not. We don't know. It kind of just depends on what's up, man. But is it something worth worrying about? No. That's the thing. Just move on. So there's the debate. That's not a debate. I've had a lot of conversations with people. They're like, so is more stuff happening, or are we just exposed to more? I think we're just exposed to more, honestly. I think about living 40 years ago, somebody got shot up in some 5 states away, probably would never hear about it. Because all we're reporting on is the local news and the local municipalities and local areas. It didn't matter. But now with the internet and how things are going, we have so much access. Instantaneous access to all this stuff that we just see more. Yeah. Because, and then now, even social media and how people interact with that is causing the news outlets to be like, they're behind. Yeah. How many stuff you hear on the news, you're like, man, I read about that 2 days ago on this other article, and they're talking about like it just happened. So now they're just trying to get everything so fast to us and get everything taken care of. But the whole thing about it is, I think that it's not that more stuff is happening. I think we're just seeing more of it because we're exposed to more of it.
Sure. I think stuff has always happened, to your point. There's always been, unfortunately, humans killing other humans doing things that some would determine is not good, like killing. I think hopefully a lot of people would agree that killing people is not good.
It depends, right? Because it
depends on what it's for.
Killing people is not good, man, right? But it's like
the only scenario is self-defense.
Right?
That's the only scenario.
Kind of getting into how many people were killed because they didn't believe in Jesus.
How many people have been killed in the name of God? Oh my gosh. The Crusaders? I mean,
countless people.
But which God? People have been killed for a lot of different gods, and a lot of different reasons. Yeah. That's a heavy one, man.
That's I don't know.
And devout Christians don't like having that conversation, which I get it. It's uncomfortable, but you can go to what was I talking about with my son? Columbus. So like Columbus has his own day. Everybody celebrates him. But if you read some of what Columbus was doing, fucking ruthless, dude.
Yeah,
just mass murder. Taking the women. It's always the women. They want the women, and you're good. Oh, you got gold? Let me get that. You got hot chicks? Let me get that too. But religion's very similar.
Yeah, man.
Religion's very similar.
You start getting really, really into. That's another thing I'm digging into a little bit more is the history of. Being from Puerto Rico, the Taino Indians and the people that inhabited the island before Columbus came, before these people started coming, and really understanding and learning what all that really looked like. And it's nasty. It's horrible. Man, it was like these guys were just hanging out here on these islands doing their own thing. And this is where I kind of go into where I have a problem with the religious piece, right? Even thinking about the settlers that we can debate on who got here first.
Right.
Okay, we can talk about that. But the arrogance, man, of, you know what? I don't understand why you don't like wearing clothes and why you're worshiping the earth, because that's not the way the path is that I believe in. So I'm going to force you to believe or I'm going to kill you because I just don't think that you're smart enough to know what's going on. When majority of these indigenous people, if not all of them, were so much more in tune with the earth and really what life was all about. And surviving in harmony with each other. Well, not each other. They were always at war. A lot of people were always at war and stuff like that. But
sure. But so are animals.
Everything.
Yeah.
And to kind of understand that when we had these people coming over from Spain and all these other places, man, it was bad shit, dude. They came over here, not just the diseases they introduced, but you can't do nothing about that. They're exploring. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to go down the street to the next hood. It's different. I don't have germs that's going to kill people in the next hood. They happen to. There's nothing you can do about that. But the just blatant destruction of the cultures and the murdering of saying, let me take everything. Look at all this gold you got. I'm going to take, and all these other things that happen, man. That's not cool in a lot of ways, man. Yeah. When that kind of goes into this whole thing, I don't know. We haven't really kind of talked about this, man, but this thing we have in Florida, right, where so it came up some time ago, the critical race theory thing, the teaching. And there's more things that are being kind of banned and like ways of talking that are being banned from what people are teaching in school, particularly around Black history with school, right? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think that the things that happened in our country happened. We have to acknowledge it and talk about it. And I feel like, and again, I'd have to dig in and do more research, but I feel like the people that are opposing that are just uncomfortable with it. I don't think it's a matter of teaching hate or teaching that, but it's a matter of fact that we did do these things as a country, as a people. We're all responsible for it. Yeah. So let's talk about it. No. What really happened, instead of burying it and kind of moving past it. Now it's going to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
hands down. It's going to make certain groups of people very uncomfortable, you know?
Yep.
But it's history. And it's one of these things where I think it goes into, if you start to tuck the history under the rug and disappear, well, then it's going to be maybe bound to repeat itself because you tend to forget how bad things really were.
I think that's the fear, is that but I don't think there shouldn't be things that we're not allowed to talk about anything, whether it's about race, whether it's about religion. For anybody to say, oh, you can't teach that, you can't talk about that, I don't know. Then that goes down the road of like, okay, well then when can they introduce, like some of the sexual stuff going on to children, know? And I think that's a different story, maybe, because, children are very impactful early on. So maybe if you do teach them the wrong things in a curriculum, I hate using right and wrong, teach them certain things in curriculum that some would argue like they don't need to know, or that's going to sway them in a certain direction. I don't know. I'm uneducated. I've heard of critical race theory, and I know that Florida is, there's some bans on some specific, curriculum around African Americans and history, but I don't think there should be anything the government, maybe it's its own place. If I want to go get that information, I should be able to go get that. But like what's blanketly taught to children, I think there's some discrepancies you can find in simple stuff, like wars that we think we won, and if you go to those countries and look at their history books, they think they won. History, it's a slippery slope, man. These books and stuff that was written from a long time ago.
It is, and I think that it's a careful topic because it hurts, man. It's a sensitive topic, man. It makes people uncomfortable when you start talking about how people treat people and have treated people, or and not even get out away from our country, man. In general, just the stuff that happens out there, right? There's this show on so I'm with you, right, as far as the critical race theory and all that stuff. I only know what I've heard and kind of briefly heard from the news and stuff like that.
Right.
The gist I get out of it is that it's very specifically about how Africans and slaves and impact of the economy and all that stuff, and we don't want to teach kind of the ugly side of how we became a strong, great country in a way
on the backs of slavery.
Exactly, right. But at the same time, so can we backtrack a little bit? There's this show, it's called the 1619 Project, and it's about this lady, this author, forgive me, I don't know her name, man. It's a show that she put together, and it's about the race of 1619 is relative because of Jonestown. That was the first time that year in Jonestown that people brought slaves for the first time.
In the year 1619.
1619, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
To America.
And so that's really kind of the basis of it, and kind of talking through all that stuff. And I didn't connect the dots at first. And I'm watching this thing because I like history, and I just love history, man. So I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, more insights as to what really kind of went down. How did the slaves, how they were treated, how these things happened. And then it started kind of hearing little things about, this book was banned, and it started tying it to the critical race theory. And it was they were going to use these books to teach about the history, but they didn't want to. And then it got me thinking, okay, well, that's messed up. You shouldn't block the knowledge. You shouldn't, what's the big deal? We're just teaching the stuff. Why is it so uncomfortable? But then my mind went down the road of, okay, so this is how they're making it sound. I want to believe, as people, that the reason why this is a problem is because there's some sort of real problem, not because people just are uncomfortable with the topics. I feel like it can't be it.
No.
It can't be that simple. It can't be that simple.
There is real racism. There is 100% people that don't like somebody just because of what they look like, where they're from, how they sound, what they're wearing, whatever. I think that is the weakest minds, in my opinion. Like, really? Like, you're gonna judge somebody based off of something so stupid?
I can't understand.
I really can't. But it's probably back to what we were talking about earlier. It's how we were raised. Now, if my grandpappy and his grandpappy and their grandpappy all hated whatever and told me that my whole life, then maybe that would shape how you think about things. But eventually, man, wouldn't you like?
I would think so.
But I mean, I don't understand it. It was always like, the slave owners didn't like black people, but there's pretty clear instances where the women were cool. They like the black women.
Going back to the ladies,
it's always been.
We have your gold, your silver,
and give me your women. And give me your women. Everything else you can keep.
Poor women.
I say this, and I think you and I have talked about this. That I think they've had it the worst.
Yes,
of any, and you can throw women of certain races or whatever, but for history, man, the ones that literally give us life. I mean, even in America, couldn't vote until what, the 60s? They couldn't vote. They couldn't decide things. Some of them couldn't have, jobs.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's unfathomable.
Women, man,
it's crazy.
Yeah, they've had it the worst.
Yeah, watching you see it's funny, man. I like looking up like old advertisements and stuff. And you see some of these old advertisements, and you're like, oh my god, oh my goodness, it would never fly today, dude. What the hell?
Well, some stuff flies today, but it's like Shirley Temple. Have you ever gone down that road?
Yeah,
she's got a drink named after her. But dude, they were like sexualizing that girl when she was like 10, 11 on television. Yeah. And there's only like 2 channels back then. So everybody was watching it and just, and slapping people, slapping women on TV or punching them. Like, damn.
Think about you go back to the Honeymooners, right? You know who the Honeymooners are? Old TV show.
Lucy?
Black and white. No, around the same era.
I don't know that one.
And Jackie Gleason was the main character about him and his wife. And I think his wife's name was Alice. But he always, one of the funny lines that when he dropped it, always made the crowd laugh. And it was good. It was, one of these days, Alice, straight to the moon.
To the moon. Pow! I have heard that. To the moon, Alice. Yeah.
And at that time, it was like, that was the punchline.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to hit you so hard you're gonna fly to the moon.
Yeah.
That's the punchline, man. And I don't know, man.
They've had it bad, man. Hey, I wanted to look this up. So critical race theory, what does it really mean? Let's see. What do you trust this one? Defendage.org.
NAACP, you got defending.org. We can click on a couple of them and see what we get, right?
So school activists, phrases. What is this, like a quiz for it? Here. This is an academic term for a set of beliefs about race in America. We suggest reading this article for more information. That's not super helpful. I'm just I've heard the term. I'm uneducated on what it is.
All right, let's see. Highly obscure academic theory known as critical race theory has completely mainstreamed in society.
Now everyone is discussing it.
While critical race theory has a noble goal of pointing out problems that can be hard to see that maintain or constitute racism, it turns out to be a remarkably bad way of going about this. A little familiarity with the basic principles of critical race theory and how they go wrong can help with this. Okay. That didn't really...
Yeah, I don't like... Critical race theory here. Believes racism is present in every aspect of life. Every relationship and every interaction, and therefore has its advocates look for it everywhere. Believes racism is present in every aspect of life. I don't know. And maybe this is easy for a white man to be sitting here saying this, maybe. But to believe that racism is present in every aspect of life.
That's hard.
I don't know.
I'm a little torn on that one, man. Yeah. When you first read it, I'm like, nah, come on, man. That's not really...
Look at this one. Believes science, reason, and evidence are a white way of knowing, and that storytelling and lived experience are a black alternative, which hurts everyone, especially black people.
Rejects all potential alternatives like colorblindness and forms of racism, making itself the only allowable game in town, which is totalitarian.
Colorblindness meaning like you don't see someone for their color? Is that what they're probably saying there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's find another one real quick. Let me see.
Yeah.
I like that it had a list, though. Bullet points. That's good. That's what I like. I like bullet points.
I'm a bullet point guy myself. Like, let me
small little nuggets to digest.
It's a cross-disciplinary examination by social and civil rights scholars of how laws, social and political movements, and media shape and are shaped by social concept of race and ethnicity. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Goals include challenging all mainstream and alternative views on racism and racial justice, including conservative, liberal, and progressive.
The word critical in the name is an academic reference to critical thinking, critical theory, and scholarly criticism.
I mean, this is post-Civil War. They started talking about critical race theory. I didn't realize it was that old.
I didn't realize that either.
1960s.
Post-Civil rights.
Civil rights, not Civil War. Sorry, civil rights. I was gonna say Civil War, like that would have been a long time ago. But you know, I definitely agree with what we were saying in the fact that it is real. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And whether it's black people, Muslims, Spanish people, and a lot of people don't like talking about this, or sometimes it's towards white people. Like, you know, certain people will treat white people in a way that's like they're just assuming that you're a racist or whatever.
Yeah.
And to me, that's hard for children. That's hard. I'm an adult. I've, you know, seen some of this myself. I still have a hard time explaining it, but then to children that becomes difficult.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think the problem with this, and of course, we just barely scratched the surface on what it is, but I think that this is delicate because I don't know that we have the capacity as humans to really kind of be able to, some people, but rolling out a curriculum like this across the board, some people, teachers are going to politicize it, and that's not the right thing to do. They're going to use it as their platform to speak out. And, you know, I'm a minority in this country. I've been treated like shit at times, and this is my opportunity to teach these young kids, man, fuck that. We ain't taking this shit no more. Well, that's not what this is about. It's about educating on the facts, not embellishing on it and elaborating on it, but naturally, I think, because it's such an emotionally driven topic.
Yeah.
I don't know that people can discern between the two and actually teach it. I'm speaking across the board. There are individuals, I'm sure, they would be able to completely be objective and break it down.
No.
But there's going to be a lot of people that just can't.
But do you think there's some sort of like systemic, like structural, where they're trying to keep, I don't know who, there's certain races down, or from being like successful, or from profiting? I mean, I don't know.
I do. I think there's things that happened, right? And it's but we've talked about this before, man. It's delicate.
It is very delicate.
It's delicate, and it's not because it's a sensitive topic. It's because it's not obvious, I guess, right? So I had
like what the answer is, or like what?
Yeah, examples, right? So here's something. There's a movie called You People.
You People.
It's funny. It's a comedy. It's funny as hell.
It's recent. I feel like
recently.
I've seen this.
I think it's on Netflix, right?
Oh, it's Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill.
Yes.
So Eddie Murphy's so what happens is the premise of it is Jonah Hill's the Jewish guy that falls in love with the black girl, and how they kind of come together. Well, there's this scene when the parents meet, and so the father, Eddie Murphy's Muslim, practicing Muslim, and then we have the parents who are Jewish and stuff, and they do that stereotypical thing where like some people will see somebody and all of a sudden start talking about stuff, like let's say you meet a Puerto Rican person and you start talking about all the stuff you know about Puerto Ricans, knowing that you never talk about that stuff.
I do that all the time.
But because
start talking about mofongo, start talking about Vieques.
And there's this scene that kind of touches on this whole thing, right? And it's a good movie, man. You should check it out.
I watched it.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
it was hilarious, man. So funny. So,
and to see Eddie Murphy in a movie again,
it was cool.
Yeah.
But the scene when they're in the kitchen and they're talking about, okay, well, what did your father do? Your father? Oh, was a doctor. What did your grandfather? Was a doctor. He's not a doctor. Because they're talking about, everybody had equal chances in life to make it. So that's where it comes into the systematic piece. Yeah. And so then he was like, well, yeah, you know what my grandfather did? They picked cotton for free. Maybe for your dad, for your grandfather, you know. So that underlying fundamental part of what happened in our culture, where people necessarily didn't have the roots to get out of it, right? So, or it's a situation.
But that's all races, isn't it? I mean, Jewish people were killed, slaughtered for that. You know,
not that fact is funny, but I think about that. So watching this movie, I was like, but man, they've suffered.
Yeah.
These Jewish people have suffered quite a bit, 100%.
Dude. Now people think they control the weather or whatever. There's all kinds of weird Jewish stereotypes.
But they've done that stuff. So you know what? I think I'm gonna dig into that so I can really kind of have. I've heard some stellar examples of the oh my God, what were we talking about? The systematic racism. Very clear example. And every time I see it, I'm like, that's a great way to explain it. And then it's like, it escapes me.
I think one that comes to mind is like certain communities in America, right? Where you're born into a impoverished area and like the crime rates are the same I don't remember what the study was, like in the 30s as they are like today, you know, and it's like the same stuff over and over again because not many people escape. And then I think where I have a hard time is And then again, I like to talk out of my ass on this thing a lot, but like we spend so much money, as a country, right? We send billions of dollars here, billions of dollars there, and it seems like for maybe legitimate reasons, maybe not, but it does seem like there's a miss in certain aspects of our own country.
I agree.
Where we could help people get it. Now, I'm not just saying money is the answer. It's like, well, what do you teach them? How do you, there's a lot of unknowns. And usually why I try to stay out of politics in general is because all I can do is say what I don't agree with. I don't have a better solution,
Yeah.
And I talk to this about my kids is like, they do a lot of stuff right. I mean, the roads, we got police officers, we got, firemen, and
we got handicapped parking spaces.
We got handicapped parking spaces. Yes. There's a lot, and I wouldn't want any of those jobs. Who the fuck would want to be a politician, or who would want to be a police officer, man?
Yeah, you got to be a certain build for that, mentally and the more mentally.
I don't know, man. It's a mental
thing, man. I don't know. I don't see it. I wouldn't want to do that job for the pay.
But we need them.
We do.
100%, man.
It's an essential.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's I've said this a few times. It seems like it's a challenging time, but I mean, you can go look at all kinds of challenging times.
Oh, dude, watch man, pick any sitcom from 40 years ago. And they're talking about the same shit we're talking about today. Man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Where you'll be like, okay, just replace this with some new show with the new actors, and it's the same shit.
Same stuff.
It's always has been, always will be. And that's the whole thing, man. It's funny with the politics thing, man, because I don't get too deep into that stuff because I feel like you got to know what you're talking about. Just in general, it's a pretty good idea to know what you're talking about when you're talking. I mean, you don't have to. You can be convincing without knowing, but it helps if you know something.
I never know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a good look. Act like you know, dude, because most of the time,
fake it till you make it. Yeah.
I said that to countless people. Listen, just anytime, act like you know, man, because most of the times they don't know either. So just act like you know. But when you think about these politics, it amazes me how many times people will just hear a headline and that's their belief in that political realm. And then that's what they go back and regurgitate all day long, what they heard. And it's like, damn, you didn't even understand where that's from or whatever. So to me, it's like it's all bullshit.
Well, they trust the source, right? Yeah. And a lot of times people just want to be part of a team. Yeah. They want to be on the red. So if red's saying this is what I say. Yeah. Or if blue's saying this is what I say.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with the division. We're all America. We're all people. None of the other stuff matters. There are some good points on both sides, but it seems like this way we've been doing it for forever. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way. I don't know what it is, but maybe there could be a better way. And like, I don't know, one person making decisions or one group making decisions.
I think what you hit on the divisiveness, that's driving me crazy because it's stronger now than it. I mean, there's always been these. Okay, Democrat, Republican. We have two-party system, right? So that's how we're rocking. Yeah. So I think that it's just weird, man. You got some people that no matter what their side says, whether they agree with it or not, they're on that team, and that's what it is, ride or die. They're going to vote down that ticket no matter what it is every single time. They don't 100%. Care what's happening. If they're doing a good job or bad, it doesn't matter. I don't like that, right? And I feel like I think we're probably spot on together with this, man. You could tell me that I'm just wishy-washy because I don't choose a side. I could tell you that I think for myself. That's why I don't choose a side.
Oh.
Right? There's different ways to kind of look at that whole thing. I believe a lot of what works on both sides. I like a lot of both ways. I also disagree with a lot of shit both ways, right?
Sure.
So we were out, you might remember this. We're out at dinner, right? Group of people. And something came up.
I was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Something came up and somebody said, that sounds like a Dem scratching their back or doing something. Right. And I'm sitting there thinking, how naive is it of you to think that just a Democratic politician wouldn't do what?
Oh, please.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
Please.
Okay,
I think I remember this.
We're at a round table at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So,
I think I remember this.
So anyways, man, it just sticks with me, man, that so many, they draw the line so bad. It's like, dude, you're naive to think that every politician isn't necessarily. I'm not saying every politician is a bad person, like every cop's not a bad person,
But there are bad ones.
Oh, there's bad ones, man.
Cops,
and at the end of the day, they're working out for their interests. And their interests may not even be their personal interests. They're going to be the interests of the people that funded their campaign.
Sure. because they have to.
Because they have to. Yeah. So when you start getting all that stuff construed, it just boggles my mind to be like, man, don't say them. That's just, how about we say take Dem or Republican out? Just say that sounds like a politician doing politician things.
There you go.
That makes more sense to me. Yeah, somebody's up there doing no good. Something's up.
It just seems, there's a lot of control, and religion's similar in my opinion. I grew politics and religion very similarly because a lot of people, the way it was, that's how it is, because this is what I was taught. This is what all the people around me, whatever. But I just think that it's too much. I don't think too much control for a certain government is a good thing. And people make arguments for communism, and obviously counter arguments to communism as well. But yeah, it just seems like the idea of freedom, when that's in question, that gets everybody riled up to an extent, sometimes more than others, depending on if you're talking about guns. And one color, red, is like, well, my freedom is this, and blue, like, no, this is, there's some slippery slopes. But to think that all politics are bad or all of them are evil, there are some that I think are trying to figure out good things in the world. But if you can't have, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was having a conversation where they were like, oh no, the government wouldn't do this or wouldn't hide that or wouldn't, I'm like, really?
Oh my God.
You don't have to go very far to find examples. And that what made me started thinking about Ruby Ridge. Have you heard, did we talk about this? Bro, this one blew my mind.
I think you mentioned it, man, but
this was where the FBI, hang on, I'm going to pull this up. Because this one I was like, really? So, like, the FBI comes in.
Oh, I thought it was
Ruby Ridge. 96. So this was in the 90s in Idaho.
Yes, you did tell me about this.
Where they come into this dude, and he was the Weavers. This is it. Ruby Ridge, 11-day siege in Boulder, Colorado. Deputies of the Marshal Service, they initiated action to apprehend and arrest this guy. So they come in basically in ghillie suits. And this dude is like, they find him on some gun charge. And he's out in the woods living with his family, homesteading, and they come in and get too close. The kids die, the mom dies, a bunch of people die. This guy kills some federal officers.
Okay.
But they end up coming out later that they were in the wrong. That they should not have been this close, or the guy got off. But this is what led me down that road of, some things that the government has done, you should be worried about. Mm-hmm. You should be a little hesitant to just accept everything that comes down the pipe, and the vaccine and certain stuff around that. If you even just had like a hint of skepticism, like you were not an American, or there was people that were like really treating you poorly there based off of the fact that maybe I don't necessarily trust everything the government says.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I think it was into the blind not to go too far back and keep going down this whole thing of like racism and stuff like that, man. But even kneeling for the anthem, it's like, dude, it's like, oh my gosh, man. I mean, so my perspective, right? So there's a couple of places where I live where you drive down and there's people that are very vocal about what they believe in politically, and they have
they got Trump flags.
Trump flag, but like custom made, like how we put our signs up for advertising and stuff. Like they put money into they're making their statement, right? And every time I see one's like, I stand for the national anthem, and I'm like, good for you, dude. I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it, and I don't see that as a disrespectful thing. Now, I grew up my father was 21 years in the military, man. So I mean, I grew up on military bases my whole life, surrounded by that glory, that America, and everything like that. I think it's a dumb thing for fucking people to put their hat on to choose as an argument. Like, who gives a shit, dude? Right? So how about, are you giving people shit that can't stand up because they're in a wheelchair with a paraplegic? You should. You need to if it's a big deal. You should respect the country more. Stand the fuck up.
What? A paraplegic?
That's a stupid example, right? But what I'm saying is...
Oh, I bet you, if we started looking that up, there's someone that is upset.
Somebody got some beef over somebody for not being able to stand up. Yeah, man. But... And I understand the underlying point, right? It's about respect for the anthem, respect for our flag and that. Sure. But at the end of the day, man... Yeah. I love this country. I'm an American, right? I was born as an American, and this is my country, man. I'm proud to be from here. I'm proud to be what we are. Am I proud of everything we've done and do? Nah, man, because that's just not reality, right? Yeah. I love my kids. Am I proud of everything they've done? They've done some dumb shit.
Sure.
You know, but I'm proud of myself. But if I done dumb shit, God knows. He knows the most of it. He knows all of it. Or, you know, like... I'd hate to see that reel, that memory reel of my life, but he's got locked in.
It'd probably be good.
It'd probably be fantastic.
Probably get a lot of views.
Exactly, man. So kind of just, so I don't know, little things like that people hang their hat on what they're doing and what they believe in and what they choose to cling on to. Yeah. And they're not wrong for believing what they believe. Believe what you want. Live and let live, in my opinion.
Sure.
But that's a really shitty thing. I feel stupid.
Yeah. It's kind of back to what we were talking about, you know. Columbus shows up or whoever shows up and it's like, oh, you don't believe these same things? Well, you're the bad guy.
You're a savage.
Yeah. Like, you need to come to my side. You need to believe what I believe. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think we should be accepting of what people want to believe and who they want to be and what they want to do. I think some education could come into play, and I think people should learn more how to think critically, like, you know, and understand maybe why they think about things a certain way. But I think there's so many people, there's so many different options, and to say what's right or wrong. But I'm with you. I'm proud to be, I feel very fortunate to be an American. You know, it could be a lot worse. You could, I don't know, but there's great people that come from all kinds of countries, man.
Absolutely, man.
I don't know.
It's just interesting, man. It's just, I think it's like something I've come to, we've talked about this, man.
What?
None of us know what the hell we're doing, dude.
That is the bottom line.
And I mean, I'm not talking about we're our society, corporations. Everything is just held together by this loose thread of, okay, everybody's just trying to figure it out. Every single CEO is just trying to figure out. 100%. They're making their decisions based off of the input of others around them. But at the end of the day, it's just a person making a move.
Yeah.
That's it.
But then you have people that come out and they found a whole city somewhere that no one knew about. And then, like, it really shows you that people don't really know shit.
No.
You know, a lot of people want you to think they know, but no one really knows shit.
We start going down the ancient aliens hole, man. Shit, dude. I think that there's so much shit out there that I don't want to say probably, and I got nothing to back this up, but I would not be surprised if there's a bunch of history-changing things that have been found out there that are just tucked down deep. Can't let the public see this shit because then it's going to ruin the whole structure.
That's control. Why. It'll ruin the structure. Think about, let's say aliens are real, right? Some people believe that. That would fuck religion up. That would mess up the government to an extent. You know, like, oh my gosh, like, here's these other beings that we didn't know about.
Yeah, man, but it shouldn't, right? For religion specifically. No, not easy to say.
Oh, religion, totally.
No, man, but it shouldn't, right? Because what are we saying here? We're talking about all-knowing beings that are from the universe, and all these things are all one thing,
right?
They came from someplace, right? So, but it's naive to think it just came from nothing all of a sudden.
Yeah, but the whole let's stick with Christianity because that's what we were talking about. The whole premise is that God made this man, they took his rib, and now you got a woman, you know? But wait, now you got these things that interdimensional beings that can travel back and forth.
See, so to me, that's so it's just how I think. Yeah. It's easy. Well,
God made them too?
God was the alien that made the damn aliens was God that made the people.
But I thought we were in his image. I can't fly through space.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's where string theory and multi-universes come in.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think it's back to most people. I don't know. They have a base knowledge of what they were taught, so that's what they think for their whole life.
Yep.
And maybe they never deviate. Maybe they never search out other alternatives. I've always been, and we talked about balance the last time. I always like to look at both sides. Well, if one person is saying this, what's the counter argument?
Yep.
And then find myself typically somewhere in the middle. I don't know, people that have too much of a
hard-nosed,
I just that seems, in my opinion, like a foolish way to go about it.
I think so. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to believe what you believe, but be open to other perspectives. Doesn't have to mean you have to change your mind,
right?
But you got to at least acknowledge that other people have valid points and may think a little differently. It doesn't make them right or wrong either. Right. But you know, it's a matter of. I saw this thing, man. It was actually a little snippet of a Rogan episode, right? And he was interviewing somebody there, and they had said something about climate change doesn't exist. They don't believe in it. And so his question was, obviously, what I gather from the episode is Joe does. He does believe in that, right? So that's okay. And that's great. I mean, I have my own thoughts on that, too. I'm erring on the side of I think it is real. But anyways, his point to her was, what's your backing up? And her answer was like, I really don't know much about it, so I don't believe it. So his point was, well, you can't say you don't believe it's something that you have no knowledge about. Maybe say you don't know, or you don't understand, but don't say you don't believe in it. That's a strong statement.
But that's what a lot
of man, that's what so many people do every single day, man. I know, man, like I
love saying I don't know. If I really don't, I don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Well, maybe I'll find out.
What do you think? Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. And so it's just crazy, man. And you got to be careful when we talk about these things, because I by all means don't have a lot of knowledge. I mean, I have a lot of knowledge. I'm saying like that. I'm a smart guy. I'm confident in myself, right? In my knowledge, what I know.
You've had 47 years on this earth, man.
Grinding it out, man. Taking some lumps in that 47 years. But anyways, man.
Was it 46 or 46? You're turning 47 this year?
Yes.
You just turned 46.
Stop trying to rush it. Yeah.
I didn't say 60. Damn.
That's okay. I'm actually excited about it, man. I'm excited. Man. I'm excited. I'm excited about the future, man. Me too. I'm just like, I can't wait to see what happens, man.
Another lap around the sun, man.
That's it. So the thinking about being careful when we're talking about folks, it's just so many people just don't take the extra step to do some research. A little bit of research goes a long way, man. A little bit, right? Sure. I'm not going to be, you can go down rabbit holes and be researching things constantly, but if something sparks my attention, something I'm like, and usually it's stuff that I'm like, just like that, like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I couldn't instantly form an opinion on that. Yeah. I need to do some research.
But I like that. I love that. I like intaking those things and like having conversations myself, is because then you are open to something like, oh, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, that's an interesting point of view. Yeah.
And that's really how minds are changed, right? We talk about things and figure stuff out. And it's like, damn, I didn't think about it like that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's we start talking about how it goes at home, right? My home life. I mean, I tell them all the time, my family, just listen, I'm not knowing everything, but I am confident in myself. So when I say things, I say it confidently. Sure. You can prove me wrong anytime you want. Yeah. And I'm open to it. Yeah. I'm completely open to it. I want you to. Yeah. Because let's talk about this. Let's do the argument. Let's not even argument. Let's go through it. My daughter's fantastic for that, man, because she's like
Ani or
Ani.
Sune?
Sune's a trip too. Yeah. Ani with her background and stuff, man. She I love having these conversations about religion and certain things, because I was like, what do you think about it? Because she's also my connection to 23 years old. She's in the thick of youth right now. She's in the thick of that young mindset that's going to be impacting everything in 10 to 20 years from now. Right. So asking her questions about that stuff, and she'll have some points, and I love it when we start getting into stuff, and she'll break me down sometimes where I'm like, I'm just being hard-headed, man. I don't know how to have an argument. I just kept figuring I keep arguing until I came up with something, but I couldn't. You're right.
And you have a hard time telling her that?
Yeah, because I want to win, right? But it's not, but not for the ego, but it's fun.
Maybe a little.
It's fun. Well, yeah, because I like to win, right? I'm a competitive person, but it's for the sake of the fun of the debate, man. Sure. Yeah. All right, let's talk about it, man. Yeah. But I'm quick to also to say, and there's times where I just hold my ground because I just want to see where it goes. It's like, I don't think I can leg it down. Let me see what I can come up with and see what she says. And it's funny. Sometimes I'll do that and I'll win. I'll be like, I had no idea what I was talking about, dude. And I didn't lie about it. I just stuck to my guns and reworded it. And you caved. Why'd you do that? You were right. So, anyways, the fun of it, because it's healthy. Yeah. But she shuts me down all the time, man. She's like, "No, Pop, that's not. You're looking at it all wrong.
That's old school."
Or you know what? Yeah, I know. That's just how you think, and you don't think like people around normal people think. I don't know if that's a compliment or what. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I'm not sure how to take that one.
I don't either. I'm like, thank you.
Yes, I think.
So, anyways, man, I love having that kind of conversation just because I like to talk about stuff and learn. Sure, man. I love to see new things.
All right. Technical difficulty.
That's life.
Yes. Yeah, such is life. Yes. Yeah.
So anyhow, man, all of these scientists, they are in that world.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of like, oh man, this is really interesting that these people, like, they're like, no man, you can control your environment with your mind. Not like the sense of X-Man where I'm like, okay, let me rearrange my room with my mind. You know, it's not that.
Maybe someday.
Yeah. But it's more so a law of attraction, of bringing in that energy of kind of, if you want positive people in your life and you want positive thoughts, well, surround yourself with positive people who think that same way.
Sure.
Now they can get tricky.
Yeah.
Right. You surround yourself with everybody who thinks the same way.
No.
Well, you're all going to be in your own little silo, and then now you're just believing what you believe in.
Sure.
That's it.
Then you're in a cult.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I don't know, man. A lot of that stuff is super interesting, and the more I kind of go down the road and understand it more, so it's really just slow down, be in the moment, understand that what energy you put out, you receive. Yeah. Right. So if you want good energy, you want good things, then be good to people. Yeah. Be cool.
And that goes back to what we were talking about, even with racism or any of that stuff. If you just be cool with people, treat them like you would want to be treated, and not care what they look like, what they do, care about who they are and what they're trying to accomplish.
Sure, I got biases that so something too, man, with doing this is there's this thing, you get little breadcrumbs, right? So little things that that things are starting to work in your favor.
Sure.
And a lot of the stuff I'm learning now, I've always kind of lived that way. Kind of always kind of said, things just tend to happen, man. Positive things just happen. Things just come together. Yeah. Also negative stuff that happens, but we don't let it keep us from just dealing with it. Like when I talk about when we're a family, we love hanging out together because something about our energy as a unit, shit happens around us, man. Yeah. Right? It's weird shit. Like remember when we were having coffee and the lady came out of the bushes with the jar of peanut butter. And she jumped out of the bushes with a jar of peanut butter.
That was very strange.
Right? She needed muscles to open it. You got muscles here, opened up the jar, and then she meandered back to the massage parlor, right?
I told someone that story, like, we were in like Chinatown, I don't know if you call that Chinatown, that might have been not appropriate, but like she comes out of the woods, open up this jar of peanut butter and went right back to the massage parlor. I don't know what was going on there, man. That was a weird one.
But that kind of shit.
I kind of wanted to go over there and know
too.
what's happening.
What else
like, what is she doing with peanut butter over there?
It's insane, man. So, well, you could see. You'd have to pay to see, but you could see.
What I opened it for. She would have given me a pass.
Yeah, why not? But being around that, man, and understanding that things happen and accepting that shit's going to happen, be open to it.
Yeah.
And like if you're just be aware and accept it. I think people get hung up on, oh man, life is so hard. Like, look, shit just happened. Deal with it, digest it, work with it, learn something from it, and move on. Because it's not going to be the last shitty thing that happens.
Fuck no.
No, man.
Yeah. I kind of go back to, and I think I've said this to you too, is like we are on a ball right now, spinning in the void of space.
Uncontrollably.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And there's anything could happen. We're launching freaking rockets up with all these satellites up there all the time, we got so much stuff going on that really, if you spend too much time, then you can get lost in it all and forget about like, man, I only maybe have 80 years, 100 years, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And then what? Your whole, and that goes back to the things we talked about last time, man. It's just like, I want to do things now, and not spend too much time. I want to know a little bit about what's going on and, try to teach my kids things and try to have some fun. But ultimately, what is it that I want to get accomplished and what do I want to do? And treating people nicely is that way, and try to get that positive energy out there, and hopefully that gets reciprocated.
It does naturally, but you just got to you got to believe that it will. And that's where people get hung up, things like that. It's interesting. We're planning this trip, some childhood friends of ours from high school and stuff, and we're looking at. I've told you before, I went to Vegas one time. Like, we were trying to have these trips, right? And there's one of us that I was talking to him, and I'm like, all right, cool. It's actually my brother-in-law. And I was like, all right, look, man, we're going to go to New York for my daughter's birthday, right? So I have this trip coming up. And I was like, you should meet us there. My brother JT happened to be there. He's going to be there with his lady. Can't wait for us to hang out in New York together. So it's going to be cool. So I was like, you guys should just fly over there and meet us, dude. We can all hang out. Yeah. So we got the dates. Boom. So we talked through that. Probably won't happen. Then we started talking about this trip, getting together with the group of buddies. And so New York's in March, trying to get together in first week of May, right? And then he comes down every year for vacation, and he's coming in July this year instead of August, which is a blessing in so many different ways. A whole other story. But anyhow, so I'm talking to him about it, and he's just joking. He's like, man, that's a trip every other month. You think I'm rich? I'm like, no, man, but I just want to start doing shit now before I can. I don't want to wait till I'm old to start doing shit.
100%.
I want to do shit now where I can understand what I'm seeing in my own perspective, physically be able to climb something if I want to climb, or swim, or walk.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it simple, man. I want to be able to go where I want to go and do what I got to do. And it goes with kind of what you said. I want to experience stuff now, right? And now, because we're at a point, things are just a little different how you're perceiving the world and stuff. It's an age thing. It's a maturity kind of thing. And some people can click this way in their 20s. Some people don't click until their 60s like that, right?
Or they never click.
Right?
Yeah.
And I want to go back, like, so for example, going to high school in Hawaii, I want to go back to Hawaii so badly, just to see things from this lens, this set of eyes, this set of experiences that I've had, and the way that I perceive the world now. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be freaking awesome. But I know I'm going to see things differently.
Yeah.
You know, like, you ever think about, let's say you got something that you were doing as a kid, and you walk up to it now and you're like, damn, when I was a kid, I felt like this was so big, and it's just a tiny little boat, or it's a tiny little something that, you know, you're like, man, but when I was a kid, it seemed like this was the biggest thing ever. You know, just different lens.
Your
man.
perception
changes and evolves and stuff, man. So I want to see these things. I want to go do stuff, and I'm fiending, man, to go. I want to go to Europe. I want to walk on those footsteps that for thousands of years people have been walking on them, and I just feel like there's some sort of connection there with that kind of stuff, man.
I get that. Yeah.
But I want to do it now while I can.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be. You ever heard the term that youth is wasted on the young?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of similar concept, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to wait till, okay, damn, it would be nice to climb up to the top of that 1600 staircase thing to go see this observation deck, but my knees don't work like that. I can't. Right now I can.
Right.
And that's why I want to go now, to see all these things and do these things, man.
But that's back to staying active and, you know, keeping your mind sharp and keeping your priorities in check. And then you can, especially now, man, like, you used to look at somebody in their 60s back in the day and you'd be like, oh my God, like, they're dead. Yeah. But now you like how old's like J-Lo or like some of these people, you know, you get like
looking gorgeous
Selma
and
Hayek,
fresh.
man, you know, that's what I'm saying. You know? But like, I think aging is going to continue to be a different thing as technologies advance and what we learn, like the money people are putting into like being younger and stuff like that. But even just the stuff that we know works, you know, eating healthy, exercising, and just freaking moving.
I was watching this short clip about the like medieval kings and how they lived versus like how we have it better in life now than medieval kings did. Now it's on the surface, absolutely. We got running water, we got plumbing, we got
some medicine,
you know, medicine, all that stuff. Yeah. But one of the things was that, you know, in those times, the marriages were arranged and stuff, but they were getting married at 12, 13 years old. Right. Yeah. The girls. And in our society and the way we see things now, because there's parts of the country, of the world, even the country maybe, but the world for sure, where that's okay still. There's the range and all this stuff, you know, but the way we think it's not. But the way this connects to what we're talking about is, you know, Monica kind of brought up a point, like, oh my gosh, you're so young. I was like, yeah, but 30 was like 80.
Yeah.
Back then, you understand that, right? Like, if you were living in the late 20s, you made it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different kind of thing that happens.
Yeah. I got into this the other day talking about, you know, like puberty and, you know, and how early that comes. It's like, well, what does that even mean, right? Yeah. If a child goes through puberty at, let's say, between 10 and 13, that means they're able to have children.
Right.
Which is actually what we are supposed to be doing, you know, and then we came up with these rules, which I think they're right. You know, we should protect children and let them develop further and let their frontal lobe and things keep developing. But I mean, to me, that seems like what we're all trying to figure out is how to survive, how to reproduce, how to pass the genes on to further, hopefully, generations.
I mean, that's the point of, so, we get down to the essence of it all. We're animals, man.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that would argue that because we have this higher level of consciousness and all this other bullshit, man, which is, it's there, right? There's science and stuff, but
I don't know. Dolphins are pretty damn smart.
Yeah, they are.
Whales are pretty smart. There's animals that we can't even explain how they communicate
how they
to
do
each
stuff.
other. And we just think we can because we, make these noises and we made up these rules that say what it actually means.
Man, we are animals, man, working in this world trying to figure shit out, man.
100%.
And that's something where going back to, analyzing my world, man. And we talked about this a little bit. What's the relationship of work? What is work? Like, what's up, man? And it's more and more. It's like, man, I've come to the conclusion at this point, and this thought I'm sure will evolve as everything continue to change and move, man. But we're always going to work, no matter what we're doing. It's work because it's producing something. We're working. Whether you're doing something you love, so you don't feel like you're working, you're still working. Even the people that do something they love every single day for a living, there's days where they're like, oh, shit, I don't feel like fucking doing this shit.
Sure.
Tired, I don't want to. Because it's work. It does become work, right?
No.
And what are we working for? So we're not, hunting and gathering. We're now a form of gathering, which is the money, so that we can go to the store and buy the already slaughtered, already hunted animal, and
still gotta eat.
and already picked berries instead of picking them ourselves, right? So when you start looking at that, I look at it where, okay, so the only constant is work. We have to work. We have to get these resources. So the work is what it is. Where you work is the only thing that's going to change, right? That's the only thing that's going to flux. Now, what is work? We're trading. We're trading every single day. We're trading our experience. We're trading our knowledge. And we're trading our time for this money.
Yeah.
And that's really all we're doing. That's the extent of the relationship, right? Sure. So at work right now, despite the fact that I do enjoy what I do for work right now, right?
Today. At this moment.
Today, at this very moment, right? At the end of it, man, I'm willing to trade and give that, and that's what that dollar amount that I'm getting for me is worth. My time that I'm accepting for what I have to offer,
and hopefully you feel good about it.
And hopefully you feel good about it.
And that's all.
Yeah.
To your point, that's all you can really ask for.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And I do feel good about it, right? So could it be more? It could be more. It may be, but right now I'm okay with what I got. So people could look at that and say, "Oh, you're limiting your potential." They're telling you that's all you're worth. No, it's not. I'm worth a shit ton more. Right? But the difference is that's okay. That's satisfying my needs. I'm comfortable with this trade that I'm making. And it's okay to be comfortable with that. And I think where people start getting confused or where the conflict comes of work and all this stuff is like, it's okay to like your job. First of all, it's okay to like work. It's okay to be proud of what you do for work, even if you don't work, even if you work for a company and stuff like that, right? What impact you're having. But at the end of the day, it's okay to be able to be comfortable and to say, you know what? At this point in time, that is what my skills and stuff is what I'm willing to trade right now. Could I be worth more? Maybe, but I'm okay with this. You wouldn't be okay if it's not enough, because that's the whole point of why we're working.
But you took it. You signed up for it. This is what you said. Okay, I agree. Now maybe things have changed, but I think it is a good topic because there's a lot of people that, and I've been there, where you felt like you should be doing something different, or that trade that you're making for the resources that you're getting, whether it's enough and like you're happy with it, it's still, do I need to be spending that time to gather that resource, the resource of money specifically. It seems like you should spend, unfortunately, an adequate amount of time making sure that, you're set up with what you need, what you need to have, and for your kids and your family, and, try to plan for life and stuff too. But still live, still enjoy, and still try to find those things that, sure, there's some stuff at work that you don't want to do. And I left a company and it took a long time off before I came to another company just to find something that I could do, that was worth the time and the energy and the effort. But I think a lot of people are feeling that same thing, man. They want to do something that's important. They want to feel like, they're making an impact on whatever. But
it's all up here, man. In my opinion, it's all up here, man. 100%. Right? So thinking about why am I working? You've heard the thought process, right? Some people live to work and some people work to live. Right? So I fall into the latter, man. I work so that I can live.
Me too.
Right? Yeah. So I'm putting in this time to trade off my time and my skills and stuff to get this money. So that's not the important thing, because that's going to happen, because that's what I have to do right now to get the resources. I'm working so that I can live. Now, how am I using my time outside of work?
Bingo.
That's the key.
Yeah.
So screw, you have to work. You got to do something.
Yeah.
Do it. Get it out of the way. But to really get over the fact, what happens is people, you said it to me one time when I was going through a little bit of a patch, right? And you were like, dude, you need some hobbies, my friend.
I did, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that spoke volumes to me, man.
Yeah.
Right? And because it was true. It was like, oh, damn, you're right. I'm not doing anything for myself outside of work. And so I'm so self-absorbed with that shit that I'm not getting any kind of fulfillment out of life at this point.
Brutal.
Right on?
No.
And so then was really kind of a point of things changing and starting to evolve, and all that stuff that did have a lot to do with it, that comment.
Nice.
And thinking through it. It was like, you know what? Shit, this motherfucker's right. Fuck.
That was like that must have been early in our relationship when we were talking about that one.
Yeah, man. So and that's kind of evolving, and I understood it at the moment, but now through increasing my vibration, my wavelengths of how I'm kind of thinking and seeing things a little bit differently, man.
I like how you said that.
You know,
your vibrations and your wavelengths.
Yeah, man.
Like
it's just changing, where it's like, man, I'm gonna go to work for a few hours today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get at what I want to do. That's why I'm starting the day taking care of the meditation, the reading, doing the things for myself, exercising. Boom. First.
Yeah, I agree.
Then we work. We go put our time in to gather those resources that we need. And then as soon as we're done getting that done,
shut it off.
Back into yourself.
Bingo.
Now the rest of the day is for my family, for self, for whatever, my property, the stuff that's mine that I want to take care of.
Right.
You know? Where people get lost, I think, a lot of ways is if we fall apart from that and we just work, then we go home and all we're thinking about is work constantly. So we're going to go back to work the next day. And now on the weekends, just like, I don't want to do shit. I'm depressed. I'm tired. Because I got nothing going on for myself besides waiting for the weekend to be over with to go back to work.
Yeah.
So why are you working? Well, I got to pay my bills. Okay, but what does that mean? What does that mean? Right? And in the 24-hour day, take out the 8 hours you're going to sleep. If you sleep in that, you got 16 left. Put 8 to work in there. Those 8 hours you got left, what are you doing with that time for yourself that's going to make a difference? Because the reason you're working is so that you can do things during that time. So if you stop doing things during that time, then all you're doing is working, but you're not really fulfilling anything.
And what are you doing? You know, are you filling it all up with TV? And maybe that's what you want to do, you know, but do you want to get back into art? Do you want to start playing an instrument? Do you want to learn a martial art or go to concerts or get out in the woods, you know? And then you got to plan all that stuff out and try to get it done.
It's so funny, man. Like my parents always equate this to perspectives. It's always perception and perspective, man. My dad, he could watch TV for 48 hours straight, and he just loved watching TV.
Cool with it.
Right? He was cool with it. My mother could work in the yard for 48 hours straight and be completely cool with it. He would look at her like, I don't know how the fuck you do that shit. That sucks. That's a lot of work. And she would look at him like, I don't know how the fuck you do that and just waste your damn life on the couch watching TV. It's all about perspectives, dude. Perspectives, man. And I always took that away from them. That's one of the bigger things I've learned from my parents in life is that, man, it's perspective, man. One man's treasures, another man's trash, and vice versa.
But that is kind of summarizes everything we've been saying. You know, the differences between people, there's going to be them. And maybe I think mine is good, you think yours is good, you know, at the end of the day, it's your perspective and it's what you want to do with your time. And if you're not hurting anybody, or, you know, maybe you're hurting yourself some in some things. You know, but
what harm is that? That's what you're choosing. That's the way you can, it's your life. It's your time. You know, to do what you want while you're here. And that's it, man. So I don't know. I think that's fascinating to me, man, is looking at those things and understanding that. But through this practice and this growth that I'm putting myself through, man, every day is better. Like so I had, man, always had the kind of like this receiving mindset of positive, and hey, the world comes and goes, let's digest it, kind of learn and kind of go from it. Over the last couple of years, particularly when my father passed away, changed a lot of stuff for me. And it wasn't necessarily from, just to kind of clarify for anybody that listens to this, not to kind of bash my father, but it wasn't because we had such a great relationship and he was my role model in life and my hero. Like people, oh, it's my dad's my hero. It's why when he died, I was devastated. You know, and that's not the relationship we had. Not at all. Right. But the way the circumstances happened with the way his wife did things at the time and how things played out, it impacted me deeply, man.
Sure.
Very deeply, man. And I was not myself. I'm feeling more myself now than I have in 2.5 years.
Good.
Like, okay, this is my normal self, my normal perception of, man, everything's fun. Let's just have I'm just here to have a good time, make some things happen, do what I'm doing, and create some memories and move on and be around people and just look forward to life and what's coming, man. I'm saying, oh man, I'm back into that mindset of mine. I cannot wait for the future, guys. Talking to my family, I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait, man. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be so straight. We're gonna be so. And I go, how? I go, doesn't matter. I just know what's going to happen, and I'm excited for it. So
one day at a time.
That's it, man.
One day at a time.
So being open to that, things start happening. And so being open to receiving, kind of, I started talking about a little bit of the breadcrumbs, little breadcrumbs. Things just now kind of fall in place without trying.
Nice.
You know, it's like, oh wow. And I'm talking about it across the board, because everything transcends our work and life and all that shit, man. Right? So it's like, all of a sudden I'm worried about some staffing issue, and then boom, bip, bop, it clicks into place with almost effortlessly. And that's a breadcrumb, like you're on the right path.
Yep. I do think effort plays a role in certain things. I do think some stuff comes naturally. You know, you get luck. You know, I think luck is a real thing.
Real. Yep.
But what I've been realizing is, like, if you want something, you do got to put in a little bit of effort. You know, if you want to achieve whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, and we keep circling around and coming back to it. But that's been, you know, the martial arts journey here. You gonna get in it, man? I know you've been striking a little bit.
Oh man, let's see what happens, man.
You're not sure?
Let's see what happens, man.
You gonna be rolling soon? You gonna be on the mats?
I should be, for the experience. I should be.
Yeah.
Just to experience it, man. Not even to if I end up loving it and want to do something more with it and continue to practice, then fantastic. But I'm excited to try some things, just to try them.
Sure.
Just to say, oh, this is what that's like. Okay, this is what we're talking about here. Or even just to have a better understanding for people that are in it.
Yeah.
Have an intelligent conversation.
Oh yeah.
Or at least and know, have enough to be dangerous, or at least have enough so I can ask good questions.
Yeah.
You know, really start getting into things, man. But soon, man.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu's that thing, man. I'm telling you, it is a rabbit hole for a thinking person. You know, they say fighting is a thinking man's game. Jiu-jitsu is 100% a thinking man's game. And again, I'm talking, you know, I'm 4 classes in, 5 classes in something, but you know, like,
but you've been studying it for a while,
for a few years,
reading on it, kind of understanding
and talking to, you know, Jason, you know, at American Top Team. He's a 2nd degree black belt, you know, under like legit lineage. You know, Ricardo Laborio, his guy is like that's like people that know jiu-jitsu, like that's one of the dudes. Yeah, you know, and there's some Gracie lineage in there too, but that one's been humbling. You know, that one's been a good like. Ego check on what you think you're capable of and what you can learn, but honestly respecting the people that have put the time in to understand that game is interesting too, to your point. You know, being able to have that conversation. But it's the hardest thing I've ever done, man. Physically, for sure.
I've seen you. I never seen you tired until you came to the office after a couple class days,
after a 6:30 class.
Like, oh man, I'm fucking tired.
Well, you know, I come in there like kind of with that mindset of like, you know, you don't want to look stupid, and I'm like, well, that's dumb. Like, you've never done this before, but you can't shake it, you know. And then like in the beginning, it was hard to figure out how to be calm and like know when you're safe and know what to do. But by now, like I told you, you know, tapping somebody for the first time, there was class 3. I'll never forget. It's one of those moments that you'll never forget. This kid's probably 10 years younger than me, you know, UCF student. He's been doing it for a little while. He's competing. We're rolling, and then in transition, I get him in a freaking rear naked choke. And just, you know, like that was it, man. And then now it's like, now I want to rear naked choke everybody, you know. No, it's just there is an interesting side of the skill piece to it, you know? But it's that's an interesting one. The you know, Muay Thai, and like if you want to do, you know, we went to that. What'd you think of that karate fight we went to?
That was cool.
That's pretty sweet.
That was sweet, man. I didn't know what to expect. That was my first live fight.
Mine too.
That I kind of gone to, and at first, no, full disclosure, at first I was like, man, that was okay. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting like just mind-blowing knockouts and highlight reel. That's what I was expecting. That's not reality, man. And then the more I thought about it, and the more kind of watched a couple more videos about it. Kind of saw. I was like, no, I saw some real technical shit going on there.
You saw some real technical shit.
Yep.
So yeah, we're talking about Karate Combat, which is a league that's been around. They got 40 something events now, but that is some high level karate guys that have been doing that for forever, and the skill that takes. They're using a little heavier gloves, so yeah, knockout's not as common, in that league. But the big boys, we saw one knockout that night. Yeah, the heavier weight
come
class.
Back out afterwards to hang out.
Did not. And that was cool too, being around. You could do Glover Teixeira from the UFC was right there in front of us. A lot of UFC guys around, and I like martial artists, man. They seem to have a good check on reality. At least the ones I've been around. I'm sure there's others that are not, but that world's an interesting one. I can see myself doing it for some time.
Oh my gosh, man! But I can see the mindset of it, man. It's because it teaches you respect on so many different levels, and meaning that when you see somebody and you're a trained martial artist, right? Like in the game, you've trained, you got skills, right? You don't see people the same. You're not looking at somebody like this dude. Oh, he could. You look at him like, okay, I'm looking at his build, I'm breaking him down. I know exactly what I would do to take this guy down, and I have the skills to do it. So there's a confidence. Yeah. And then once you kind of know you can, it depends on the mindset of each. There's crazies, there's savages out there, right? Sure. But your most normal, not to say normal, that's a bad way. Most people are probably going to look at it like, this person's not a threat, so I'm fine. I'm calm. I'm safe. I'm safe right now. But it also teaches the fact that you never know. Yeah. So there's this respect there that's like, okay, I respect myself. I know my skill set. I know somebody tries to stop me from walking by, I'm going to get by. I know that. And that builds a certain confidence, which builds calm. Yeah. You're at peace. You're kind of like, hey, man, what are you going to do to me? Yeah. But there's also that thing in the back of your head. You don't know what they can do to you. Yeah.
Or what you can do. Yeah. Yep. I think for a lot of my life, I had a false perception of like what I would do in a certain scenario, whether hands are getting thrown or wrestling. Yeah. That physical 100
yes,
show.
Yeah.
Did you watch a couple?
Yeah, I've seen it. I had them on in the background. Some crazy stuff. Yeah. Right. The wrestlers were taking everybody out.
The wrestlers, man. Like those are people that grow up wrestling their whole life and now jiu-jitsu their whole life or MMA their whole life. Like it's a different. You would be helpless, what you think. Sure, there's always a puncher's chance or whatever, but rolling with some people that that are like legit. It's like, all right, like this is a game. Then they can trap you, and they could. Where were we at? Where some dude was talking about getting in fights, and I was like, I wouldn't recommend going around fighting people in today's day and age.
You can't. Was that at the meeting? The big meeting? Yeah. You can't think like that, dude. Yeah. You don't know who knows what out there, man. Oh. No, dude, it's foolish.
Some women, there's some women that would choke the life out of you before you even knew what was coming, man. So I just, and for me, it's not necessarily about thinking about getting in a fight with someone. You'd like to be able to defend yourself or your family. Yep. You'd like to be able to assist, especially in like a control environment. Like if you were somewhere and you needed to. You don't want to hurt somebody. You want to control them. Like that. Control is an interesting aspect of wrestling and jiu-jitsu that I really kind of enjoy from a self-defense standpoint. But ultimately, I think most martial artists would probably say that like they're not trying to fight people. They would try to get away from this situation more than anything.
Actually, we're more elite soldiers, people that are trained killers. Yeah. I mean, the interviews that I've seen.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, first thing I'm trying to do is get away. Yeah. Because if I have to physically engage, it's not going to be a good day for this person. And I don't want to do that to people that don't know, have an understanding of what they're really getting themselves into. Sure. Sure. I think that there's kind of going what he said. People always have a vision of what they're going to do in a fight. Yep. But the funny and stupid part about that vision is people tend to forget that the other person's also fighting. Right. Right. So, like, oh, not me, man. I'll boot up, boom, knock him out. I'm just going to knock him out. Like, okay, that's what they're thinking too, right?
Sure.
Or they're thinking they're going to break your arm or your leg. Or
depends, man. Depends. You start going down that rabbit trail of like street fights and like, everybody's swinging these big haymakers. Everybody, and it's fast and furious, you know? So it's back to that, like, to me, it's that ability to be calm and react, the way you want to, and that helps in a lot of situations. Like realize what's happening. You've been there before. Maybe you've done some sparring or you've done some rolling, and you want to maneuver around and make sure you're safe. But I'm not trying to fight nobody.
Well, exactly what you said, man. It goes back to the whole meditation. What did you say just now? Being able to kind of analyze the situation before you react.
Yes.
Same thing. That's the physical interpretation of it.
No.
Where the psychological, mental one is the same thing. Where you're just kind of like, It's not like you go everything. You go.
Let me think about this.
No.
Yeah. No.
It's literally split seconds longer.
Yeah.
Because of how fast our brains work and all that stuff. Where you're just like, okay, no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to react that way. I'm going to react this way. And the more you start reacting differently to your environment and what's happening, just by taking a little bit of time, now you're a different person.
100%. But that takes practice.
It does.
It takes practice for you, daily meditation, get into that zone. And martial arts is the same. That's why drilling, you throw the same combination over and over again. You practice the same choke over and over again, the same sweep, the same everything. Then it's like tying your shoe. So if you needed to get into a meditative state, or you wanted to be calm, maybe you get yourself worked up, you know how to do that.
Yes.
Because you've been there before.
And it's happening, right? Just like that, where it's like, okay, a couple of 2 or 3, couple of deep breaths in, specific timing with how I'm being able to fall into that area and see things. The thoughts still come. The thoughts, you still have to kind of dismiss the thoughts that come and refocus and do it, and it takes practice. I don't know, it's awesome, man. Same way that like it's the same way that you're having this passion and for the physical aspect of this stuff here. The psychological portion for myself is equally as just intriguing and fascinating, man. Like I always heard about the difference that it makes and stuff, and you're like, look how big,
really?
Come on, you're gonna breathe for a little bit, sit still, Dude,
you don't believe it until you do it.
It's a game changer, man.
Yeah, and most stuff, like you hear about, like, oh, this sounds great, I should do that. But like, if you don't, I'm the kind of person that if I don't actually do it and see it for myself, it's gonna be harder for me to figure it out.
Think about traveling with the boss tomorrow, right? And I'm not. I generally have a great relationship with the boss, right? She's a fantastic person that she is, and so. I would always naturally, even though I know it's going to go well, have like this anxiety about it, right? And so people would say, well, if you weren't worried, you wouldn't care. And I always kind of had a hard time with that. I think there's some truth to it, but you shouldn't have to stress to care, And so where I'm at now, I'm thinking about going to travel today. I know it's going to be a great day, because it always is. But the reason why I would get anxiety before is because I'm like, well, what if it isn't good? Well, what's the pattern, dude? It always goes well.
Yeah.
So why are you stressing about making shit up in your head that's going to go bad that you don't even know?
But even if it doesn't,
it's still okay.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
Nothing. Nothing. I'm going to learn some things. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to learn anyways.
100%.
But that's the biggest thing. 100%. I'm going to learn from it and be like, okay, I'm not putting myself in that position again, or I'm going to do things a little differently next time.
How you react to it, to the feedback, to whatever comes out of it, man. Yeah, man.
There's a certain calm with it, man. Because it's, again, it's like, man, what am I going to say or do that's going to be detrimental? Nothing. I got some class. I mean, I can. Trust me, we can go down a whole.
Maybe there could be a couple things
in the natural progression of the day of hanging out. I'm not going to say anything crazy, dude. Will I say something that could be said differently? Sure. Will I say things that maybe I could position differently? Sure. But that's the whole process of it.
Not being afraid, human, man,
and not being afraid to fail. Not being afraid to hit your head on the wall. The difference is you hit your head on the wall, like, that hurts. I'm going to go this way.
Maybe I'm not going to do that again.
Exactly. So, man, I don't know. Different things, man. Just being calm. And I've also found, Steve, man, interestingly enough, that I would avoid social scenarios a lot. And I attribute it to working in my retail days for so long. Because when I was a lot young, before retail, pre-retail, I would see a crowd of people, man, I would run into that crowd. What's going on there? Let me go see what I got. And kind of just bebop around, come back and be like, all right, cool, guys, here's what we got. I met this person, they're doing this. I met that person, they got this going on. We can go over, check out. I've heard some things about this other area we can go hang out at, blah, blah. Kind of reconnaissance, kind of scoop it all up. Then I get into the retail world and do all that stuff. Then I would see a crowd and run the opposite direction. Like, fuck that. With all those people there, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to look at people. I don't want to.
I know that.
All I do is talk to people all day long. I do not want to talk to people, And so for a while there, I avoided even social gatherings and things, man. Like, man, like, you don't even understand. Like, the first time that you got invited us, the family, over to kind of do things, man. It was everything for me to get there, dude. Everything.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Oh, man. Me too. And it wasn't because I anticipate nothing wrong with you or whatever.
Sure.
It was just I just don't know, man.
Some of the unknowns.
It was all the unknowns.
All the unknowns.
And it's coming from a place of not fear that I'm gonna get trapped because I know I just leave. That's why I'm like I just leave. That's why I always take my own vehicle. Like,
you're in control.
I'm in control. You know what I mean? But it was just the anxiety. Okay, I got to meet people I don't know. Who do I have to be? Because all I know how to do is be myself. Is that going to be okay around these people? Because and that's would be my biggest concern. Sure. It's like, and I'm not going around. I'm not some sort of knucklehead or anything like that. But if I hear something that's not cool, I'm probably going to say, hey, that's not cool. And if I don't know people, who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I like about you personally.
So anyways,
you can be cool, and especially over the last little bit. And I think we're all on that same, you and I think are on similar paths to what we're trying to accomplish, and I've learned a lot from you, in a short amount of time. That's why I enjoy, our conversations and our friendship. But I was the same way, man. And, part of wanting to invite you guys to things is like, I feel like I should be more social.
Yes.
I should have, not better people, but certain people around you that will challenge you or get you to see things in a different way. And then you've been that guy, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And likewise, ditto, man. I've talked about you with people you don't even know they know you. So you know what I mean. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But getting into the now, I still have that social anxiety in me to a certain point, but I'm much more flexible on it because. And I've always, it's again, practicing what you preach. I've always told my daughters, people I know, look, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what relationship or connection you're going to make.
So don't close the door.
So don't close the door. Just be open to see what happens. And even though I believe that, I stayed away from people. And not realizing it's like, nah, man, there's some really cool people out there that you can meet. How and this is coming into... I see a future of abundance for myself, right? In a few different ways, financially, time-wise, and all these things. I see the future where I want to be, this place, right? And the way it's going to get there is through people, right? Through me, my self-work, being open to people, but getting out there and connecting with people. That's the only way it's going to happen. Because if I just stick to myself, unless I'm going to actually start taking action on starting this business or doing that craft or doing something that is going to, it's really going to come through other people, right? And just connecting and seeing what other people have to offer and what we can do together and learn from
what you can offer them.
Yeah, man.
And I think that's where relationships and, and the ability to them. But I do think sometimes there are ones you should close off.
Oh, absolutely.
There are certain types of people, and we can go back through the list of people and things we were talking about earlier, man. But I think, you summarized it well, which is, what else are you going to do? You're going to stay inside all day and not meet anybody? And there's only so much of your plants you can talk to before.
Tell me about it.
You got to get out and start talking to
people. Man. Yeah, man. So it's cool, man. So that's where it's exciting because I'm like, oh my gosh, now that I'm getting more back to being comfortable with being in these social situations and opening and talking to people, even at the recent meeting we were at. I felt the most natural just talking to all these strangers.
You're and social I have, butterfly, man.
I couldn't even, it was like, wow, this is weird. Like, wow. And I don't know that I would have done it that way 2 months ago.
Wow.
It's just I would have shook hands and done the thing. You know what I mean? But to just be like, I'm going to sit over here and just talk to these people.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, "Where's my people? I know that face. I'm going over there. I'm going over there."
I know that feeling, man. Yeah.
And I felt very proud of that.
Yeah.
So when I got out of there, is when I was telling the wife, like, man, look, I never interacted in one of those meetings like that before with people where it was just like I don't give a shit. Here, guys, what am I'm here to do? I didn't chase anybody down to shake their hand. I didn't go out of my way. It just all kind of happened, man. I just kind of did it. That's coming from this getting back to my normal kind of self.
Good.
And so taking that hiatus from that connection from my father passing away in that, it's allowing me to reconnect with my older self from before my retail days and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, man, this is the person this is why you had the things happen to you. The good things in life happen to you.
And it's who you want to be?
It's who I want to be, man.
Well, there you go.
That's what it is, man. I'm not into, I'm into networking for the sake of real relationships.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Real true connections.
Not networking because this is what I should be doing.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
I want to find some real people that can have a real conversation, talk about some real stuff, and tell me what you really think.
So let's think about when you do, if you own your own business, right? A lot of that is networking. You're making relationships, you're doing it. But there's a piece of it that's kind of shallow because you're really only trying to meet people to see how they can help you grow your business and how you can make a connection and benefit from them in a lot of ways, right?
You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's been around for forever
and ever. Quid pro quo, right? Let's do it, right? So I feel like when you get into those environments and stuff like that, it's like it's not real to me. Now it is real to a degree that this is my business. I'm growing this, so I need to make these connections to make it happen. And who knows what relationships will grow from these connections I'm making. But the original intent of making the connection is not for getting to know somebody. The original intent is what can they do for me and how could I benefit them and how can we do something together to make some money or grow whatever we're growing.
Right.
I don't know, man. That seems weird to me, man. I feel like that's shallow, man.
It does. But I think there's some pieces you can take away from that, which is if you can actually be real and be yourself, and then that ends up being a mutual relationship where like, hey, like we're cool with each other. Yep. Let's figure this thing out. Let's do this together. You know, then that's a mutual understanding versus showing up at a networking event and trying to, you know, get my information out to as many people and maybe one person it sticks with. You know, I get that shallow feeling.
Or even the I don't have to give a shit about what I'm saying or doing when I'm out in public. My whatever people receive and how they react, it's on me, right? I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm trying to run my business and it's like I have to be careful what I say and where I say it because I never know who I'm talking to and they could detrimentally hurt my business or they could be a client of mine that I don't even know they're a client and now they show up at my office one day and I was talking all this shit and now I'm embarrassed and I'm going to lose business. Again, I feel like it's disingenuous. No. You know, it's like, man, just be yourself. You should be able to say what you want, how you feel. Yeah. What are you saying and how you're acting that's so horrible? And if you are, maybe it's a self-reflection time, man, to kind of say, okay, what am I doing here that's uncomfortable? Yeah. There's just something where, depending on what side of the fence you're on, people wear it as a badge of pride that I can scan a crowd and okay, here's what I'm going to get out of this. Here's the people that I'm going to zone. And then, and I don't see it that way. Yeah. I don't have that gear in me. But again, it's perspective, right? It's kind of different things. Those are my people that meet me, but they're not going to get too. I mean, if we can build and do something, fantastic. When people ask what I do for a living, I say, I work for a storage company. Yeah. I don't get into what I do. It's not important what I do. Now, if they ask more questions, they'll find out what I do.
Then maybe.
Yeah, you know, but it's not, I'm not going to go straight to, oh, I do this, I'm responsible for that, and this amount of money, and I got all these people, and I'm all... No.
Some people play that game.
Oh, they do, man, and that's okay if that jazzes them, but if they're doing it because they're just feeling like that's what gives them worth, that's a whole other thing.
Or it's a dick swinging contest or something, you know? Big time,
you know, I like the feeling of when somebody asks me what I do, and I tell them, very vague, and then, oh, what's that like? Oh, this and this and that, and they can, not to brag, I'm just talking about what I do, and then they pick it apart and they go, oh, damn, dude, you're okay. Oh, you're doing a couple things, like a little bit. I'm a little, you know, when I'm working, I'm busy during the week. Yeah. you know what I mean? It's like, okay.
When you got people, real estate, you know, you got a lot of things going on, man.
A lot of stuff happening, man. And I always find it funny. I'll never forget there was a time when brother-in-law's family was visiting. Actually, the year he got married here. And one of their good friends was hanging out, and then we had just met this lady, you know, and apparently she was an author or something, self-help, I don't know. And she was going around the kind of the group. Oh, so what do you? So okay, after a couple of days of hanging out because they were here for a while. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I'll never forget when she came and she was like, okay, so what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm working a storage company. And she just brushed it off like it wasn't shit. And it's okay. And it's not that I was looking for glory. Right. But it looked at her and I was like, damn, dude, you have no idea how we may be able to help each other because you couldn't see past what you perceive.
Your own judgment
of what I do for a living.
But those are the kind of people, close that door.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not going to change, you know, certain individuals like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I chuckled. I was like,
move on.
All right, man, no problem.
That's a good way.
You know,
and that laugh of yours is contagious. Everyone says it, man. You get Johnny laughing, and you know, and then that's
a good time.
It's a good time. Well,
man.
This was a good convo, man.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
I think we did a little longer than last time. You know, I think that's over 2 hours.
Is it?
We were hour 30 before it died. That was another 44 minutes, man.
Nice, man.
Yeah. But you're good people, man. We can do this
Steve.
whenever you want, and I think
down.
this journey that we're on, I think there's a lot of parallel paths.
Yeah,
man. And let's keep it going. Let's see where it goes.
I'm down, my friend.
Man. Let's do it. All right, bro. Good stuff. Whew. Nice, man. That was smooth.